Tigers on Sirius 208, XM 175, and Internet 849. Cardinals on Internet 865. 2:10 p.m., Chicago White Sox take on the Minnesota Twins. White Sox on Sirius 210, XM 177, and Internet 845. Twins on Internet 856. 3:07 p.m., Toronto Blue Jays take on the Kansas City Royals. Blue Jays on Sirius 211, XM 178, and Internet 868. Royals on Internet 851. 3:30 p.m., Oakland A's take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. A's on Sirius 106, XM 179, and Internet 859. Pirates on Internet 861. 3:40 p.m., Seattle Mariners take on the Atlanta Braves. Mariners on Sirius 119, XM 180, and Internet 864. Braves on Internet 841. 4:07 p.m., LA Angels take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Angels on Sirius 137, XM 181, and Internet 852. Phillies on Internet 860. 4:10 p.m., San Diego Padres take on the Cincinnati Reds. Padres on Sirius 138, XM 182, and Internet 862. Reds on Internet 846. 6:35 p.m., Baltimore Orioles take on the New York Yankees. Orioles on Sirius and XM channels 89, Internet 842. Yankees on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m., Miami Marlins take on the Colorado Rockies. Marlins on Sirius 208, XM 175, and Internet 854. Rockies on Internet 848. 7:10 p.m., Boston Red Sox take on the San Francisco Giants. Red Sox on Sirius 209, XM 176, and Internet 843. Giants on Internet 863. 7:10 p.m., New York Mets take on the Chicago Cubs. Mets on Sirius 210, XM 177, and Internet 857. Cubs on Internet 844. 8:05 p.m., Texas Rangers take on the Washington Nationals. Rangers on Sirius 211, XM 178, and Internet 867. Nationals on Internet 869. Spanish feed on Sirius 106, XM 179, and Internet 870. 8:10 p.m., Houston Astros taking the Cleveland Guardians. Astros on Sirius 119, XM 180, and Internet 850. Guardians on Internet 847. 9:40 p.m., Arizona Diamondbacks taking the LA Dodgers. Diamondbacks on Sirius and XM channels 89, Internet 840. Dodgers on Internet 853. Spanish feed on Internet 871. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM MLB schedule for Wednesday, May the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In Major League Baseball, 1:10 p.m., Milwaukee Brewers take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Brewers on Sirius 209, XM 176, and Internet 855. Rays on Internet 866. 1:10 p.m., Detroit Tigers take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Tigers on Sirius 208, XM 175, and Internet 849. Cardinals on Internet 865. 2:10 p.m., Chicago White Sox take on the Minnesota Twins. White Sox on Sirius 210, XM 177, and Internet 845. Twins on Internet 856. 3:07 p.m., Toronto Blue Jays take on the Kansas City Royals. Blue Jays on Sirius 211, XM 178, and Internet 868. Royals on Internet 851. 3:30 p.m., Oakland A's take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. A's on Sirius 106, XM 179, and Internet 859. Pirates on Internet 861. 3:40 p.m., Seattle Mariners take on the Atlanta Braves. Mariners on Sirius 119, XM 180, and Internet 864. Braves on Internet 841. 4:07 p.m., LA Angels take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Angels on Sirius 137, XM 181, and Internet 852. Phillies on Internet 860. 4:10 p.m., San Diego Padres take on the Cincinnati Reds. Padres on Sirius 138, XM 182, and Internet 862. Reds on Internet 846. 6:35 p.m., Baltimore Orioles take on the New York Yankees. Orioles on Sirius and XM channels 89, Internet 842. Yankees on Internet 858.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
Minnesota Twins manager Rocco Baldelli joined MLB Network Radio on SiriusXM Channel 89 to talk about the Twins' success so far this season.
It's kind of taken on a life of its own, but I think everyone's having fun. We're kind of in touch with some meat companies, and hopefully we can get a fresh supply coming up soon, because the one that we got, its life is about over with, I think.
Well, I mean,
that's good.
It's going to stay good, Rocco. Listen, I'm an expert on encased meats, being from Chicago. I can tell you, that will be edible for forever unless you leave it out in the Arizona sun for 4 days.
I promise you. I invite you, actually, to come and hang out.
Yeah.
So when this thing opens up, you can take a nice bite out of it, and it'll be good. But it doesn't look normal. I promise you that.
Oh, my Lord.
So you're in touch with meat companies about this, right? You literally have a reliever whose nickname is Meat Raffle in Caleb Thielbar. I mean, like, there's marketing opportunities, right? It's too bad this isn't college, because that would be NIL all over the place.
Oh, big time, big time. No, actually, I personally am involved in none of this, but I make sure that they keep me informed. They keep me informed, and that's it. That's basically it. But, the guy again. I get back to the main point. The guys are playing good, so that's why this is fun.
Right.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM MLB schedule for Wednesday, May the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In Major League Baseball, 1:10 p.m., Milwaukee Brewers take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Brewers on Sirius 209, XM 176, and Internet 855. Rays on Internet 866. 1:10 p.m., Detroit Tigers take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Tigers on Sirius 208, XM 175, and Internet 849. Cardinals on Internet 865. 2:10 p.m., Chicago White Sox take on the Minnesota Twins. White Sox on Sirius 210, XM 177, and Internet 845. Twins on Internet 856. 3:07 p.m., Toronto Blue Jays take on the Kansas City Royals. Blue Jays on Sirius 211, XM 178, and Internet 868. Royals on Internet 851. 3:30 p.m., Oakland A's take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. A's on Sirius 106, XM 179, and Internet 859. Pirates on Internet 861. 3:40 p.m., Seattle Mariners take on the Atlanta Braves.
Major League Baseball play-by-play is now on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game.
Calling this game.
Calling this game.
Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game. It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet.
Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center.
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made a play. Oh, my.
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That goes high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.
I don't believe what I just saw.
And the way the right voice can make a moment live forever.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Outsiders may think this is just two teams.
A ball, a bat, and a microphone. But no.
For over 100 years, this has been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck it out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
The soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio.
Right now on SiriusXM.
All rise.
Coming in 5.
Get ready to play.
4.
Get up. Get up.
3.
Can you believe it?
Put your seatbelt on.
Wow. My goodness.
Major League Baseball play-by-play is now on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball. You love yelling at your buddies about baseball because they love baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
The most important person in sports is you, the fan.
Let me tell you something. I'm a real fan.
And your place for sports talk is Mad Dog Sports Radio, where your voice is heard all day long.
I couldn't wait to get into the truck, turn on 82.
Share the thrill of victory.
The joy, the jubilation. I can't stop smiling.
And the agony of defeat.
When is this franchise going to realize people really care about this?
Passionate sports fans call 888 Mad Dog 6.
You gotta love sports.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the SiriusXM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody!
This is Steve Phillips from the Leadoff Spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have plenty of fun along the way.
Steve, you were so right about that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The Leadoff Spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Each night after the horn sounds, NBA Radio has you covered with the best analysis of all the games.
When healthy, they check a lot of boxes.
We'll break down the playoff action.
Tatum saw it coming, picked it off, drives in, and throws it down with two hands.
And take you inside the locker room to hear from the players and coaches.
It seemed like we had a lot of guys that were getting banged up, but we were able to get the job done.
Hear the NBA Radio Playoffs postgame show every night throughout the postseason on NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Golf in 2024 has been dominated by one man.
Scotty Scheffler is the Masters champion.
The season's second major championship has the world's best players trying to win the Wanamaker Trophy.
Brooks Koepka is the winner of the 105th PGA Championship.
And you can hear all the action on SiriusXM. PGA Championship Radio returns Monday, May 13th with play-by-play from Valhalla Golf Club, starting Thursday, May 16th on Channel 92 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
There is no competition in soccer quite like the UEFA Champions League. And it's on SiriusXM FC.
Kylian Mbappe delivering when it matters most.
The stakes are higher now in the knockout stage, where one goal can transform a club's trajectory.
Jude Bellingham's driving scores!
And one performance can turn a star into an immortal.
Harry Kane finishes off the game.
It's the Champions League knockout stage, and all the top matches are on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84. This
slams the ball to right field, way back, way gone!
Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second, the throw! In time!
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Blue Jays ran into a buzzsaw last night as Cole Reagans threw a gem against Toronto, leading Kansas City to victory and snapping the Jays' mini 2-game winning streak. But today, Toronto will hope to get back on the winning track in this rubber match. Good afternoon, everybody. Eric Smith and former Major Leaguer Chris LaRue with you, alongside host and producer Sho Ali, Tom Young, and Derek Brandeo, our technical directors. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Bridgewater and Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. Chris Bassitt gets the ball for Toronto today, his 7th start of the season on a getaway day for the Jays. They'll head to Washington and Philadelphia after today's tilt against the Royals, and they'd obviously like to do so hitting the road on a winning note. It's the Royals and Blue Jays. The first pitch right around the corner. You're listening to Blue Jays baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app at sportsnet.ca and across the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bring excitement to your landscape with proven winners, Color Choice Shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better, so they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for proven winners, Color Choice Shrubs, in the distinctive white container at your local garden center. Or learn more at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your TimberMart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in-store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
There is no competition in soccer quite like the UEFA Champions League. And it's on Sirius XM FC.
Kylian Mbappe delivering when it matters most.
The stakes are higher now in the knockout stage, where one goal can transform a club's trajectory.
Jude Bellingham's driving, scores!
And one performance can turn a star into an immortal.
Harry Kane finishes off the game.
It's the Champions League knockout stage, and all the top matches are on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
And it's gone!
Jays fans, this is John Schneider, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
There's the exclamation point for all assembled here at Rogers Center.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
0-2 from Manoah. That's a called third strike. Lower inside corner at 94. He dotted it.
You know, look what Manoah did in both the fourth and fifth innings, issuing a leadoff walk, then a stolen base, man on second, nobody out in both innings, and each time he struck out the next three batters.
5 of those 6 punch-outs swinging.
His stuff has been there, so I think just strike throwing, getting deeper into the game, just the pitch count being where it was, and the strikeouts. It was all pretty good.
And that, of course, the voice of Blue Jays manager John Schneider speaking earlier today before the start of this ballgame about the fine performance turned in AAA last night by Alek Manoah, and we await word as to what might happen with Alek Manoah, if he might be called back up to fill in that 5th spot in the Blue Jays rotation. Schneider did say the Jays do have options, and with a couple of off days coming, they do have some wiggle room before needing to make that decision as well. I'm sure that's something that we will chat about over the course of this broadcast as we get set for Game 3, the rubber match between Kansas City and Toronto. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you as we take a look at the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and you can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. The Blue Jays enter action today, same spot as they were last night or yesterday, in 4th in the East. Baltimore leads the East at 19-10. The Yankees in 2nd at 19-12. Boston has a 17-13 record. Then again, it's the Jays, a game below 500 at 15-16 following yesterday's loss. And Tampa Bay pulling up the rear at the basement of the AL East, 14-17 overall. But as I mentioned off the top, Toronto hoping to get back on the winning track and win this series with a victory today over the Royals. Chris Bassitt on the mound for Toronto. But, Chris, the Jays will be in tough on the other side against KC.
It's a good squad. It really is. Let me give you the lineups just to kick things off here. For the Kansas City Royals, leading off and playing third base is Maikel Garcia. Bobby Witt Jr. will play shortstop and bat second. At first base, batting third is Vinny Pasquantino. Behind the dish and hitting in the cleanup spot is Salvador Perez. Michael Massey will bat fifth and play second base. DHing and hitting sixth will be Nelson Velasquez. In left field, batting seventh is MJ Melendez. Adam Frazier will bat eighth and play right field. And in center field, batting ninth is Kyle Isbell. On the mound is righty Seth Lugo. And for the Blue Jays, leading off and playing right field is George Springer. At first base, hitting second will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Bo Bichette will bat third and play shortstop. DHing and batting in the cleanup spot is Daniel Vogelbach. Dalton Varsho will bat sixth and play center field. Behind the plate, batting sixth is Danny Jansen. Davis Schneider will bat seventh and play second base. At third base, batting eighth is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And in left field, batting ninth is Addison Barger. On the mound with a record of 2-4 is righty Chris Bassitt.
So Dalton Varsho in center field had the day off yesterday, but back in the lineup today. It was just a day's rest, nothing else, nothing to be concerned about. And that's the same case for Justin Turner today, the day off for Turner. As John Schneider said, he does anticipate using him quite a bit over the next 5 games, with the Jays only playing 5 games in 7 days after 13 straight days playing. You mentioned Bassitt on the mound. We're watching him warm up right now, but Toronto will certainly be in tough against Seth Lugo.
Well, I'm excited to see Chris Bassitt versus Seth Lugo. Both of these guys have 8 pitches. I do not envy catchers Salvador Perez or Danny Jansen trying to figure out what these guys want to throw. But I was told that Seth Lugo not only has 8 pitches, he thinks he has 12 pitches. The difference in variations in fastballs and different speeds of his breaking balls, he counts those as different pitches. So Seth Lugo versus Chris Bassitt, a total of 20 different types of pitches. That is insane.
How many did you have at the peak of your
3? I had 3. Fastball, slider, changeup. That is it. I keep things simple.
I like that.
I don't want my catchers going crazy.
We are set to go here in the top of the first as right-handed hitting. Maikel Garcia steps to the plate. The Royals' third baseman getting set for the first pitch from Bassitt. And it's in there for a strike. First pitch at 3:08 on a Wednesday afternoon. Work from Dome. As we'll give you the attendance numbers later as the fans file in throughout the first couple of innings for sure. The second pitch, the 0-1. Bassitt misses outside, 1-1. Garcia hitting .231 on the season. Bassitt adjusting his belt for a moment. Looks in at the sign. Deep breath and the delivery. And that one good for a strike as well. The sinker at 93 and ahead in the count at 1-2.
And he didn't have that sinker in his last start against the LA Dodgers. He didn't have the command, he didn't have the sink, and right away you can tell his sinker is there today.
And he gets Garcia chasing after one outside, and a strikeout to start the ball game for Chris Bassitt.
And that was the sweeper at 74. Maikel Garcia unsure facing Chris Bassitt. Like we said off the top, he's got 8 different pitches, and he makes Garcia look silly right there on that sweeper.
That brings to the plate Bobby Witt Jr., the righty, hitting .315 on the season. He leads the AL with 17 extra base hits. We saw him with a clutch one last night in the Kansas City 4-1 victory over Toronto. First pitch, the sinker missed. It's 1-0. Bassitt again taking his time to come set, and the delivery. Missing outside and low. It's now 2-0.
Well, if there's one thing Chris Bassitt is good at, it's taking his time. He loves to take his time. He loves to run that pitch clock down to 2 seconds, 1 second, and then throw his pitch.
Last night's game took only 2 hours and 19 minutes.
That won't be happening today.
It's all right. I've got nowhere to be. Where would you rather be than right here, right now, as Witt smacks one down the left field line and into the stands? Somebody's got a souvenir down there. That was a hot shot. You got to keep your head up for those ones.
Yeah, that sinker was in off the plate. Bobby Witt Jr. so good pulling those hands through. He's got such quick hands. All he could do with that pitch, though, was foul it off.
2-1 the count as Bassitt gets set. One out here, top of the first. Witt fouls that one off, first base side, just above the Royals dugout. It hits the net, comes back down, picked up by the ball boy.
Bassitt's got a pretty cool glove on right now. I don't think he's used this glove before. It's a camo green and light green glove. I'm surprised that Major League Baseball actually allows him to use it.
It's a great point. Maybe offset it against the white jersey of the Blue Jays. And the fastball in there for a strike from Bassitt. Called a sinker at 95. Either way, Witt was frozen. He stared at that one in back-to-back Ks to start the game.
Yeah, Bobby Witt was shaking his head, walking back to the dugout. Didn't like that pitch. It might have been a hair off, but that was a good sinker. Kind of ran back over the edge of that plate at 95 miles an hour.
And Vinny Pasquantino steps to the plate. The left-handed hitting first baseman, hitting .208 on the season. He takes the first pitch for a ball. 4 home runs on the season. Getting set for the second pitch from Bassitt. And that one misses as well for Bassitt. It's now 2-0. And of course, the big bat and the looming presence of Salvador Perez in the on-deck circle. Toronto, though, with 2 out here in the top of the first. Bassitt delivers and just misses again. Pasquantino checked his swing, but Held it back, no problem. It's now 3-0.
Well, you don't want to walk this guy. You fall in behind 3-0. Throw that good sinker down in the zone. See if Pasquantino can get himself out.
That one's in there for a strike. Obviously taking the whole way. The sweeper at 73 miles an hour. And Bassitt back in this. It's 3-1.
You don't want to walk Pasquantino because Salvador Perez is on deck. He's hitting .355 with 26 RBIs.
Pasquantino fouls one off. It's down the third base side about 20 rows deep. And now a 3-2 count. Speaking of Perez, a 20-game on-base streak as well. That's best in the majors right now. Trying to keep him away from getting up with anybody on. It's a 3-2 count right now for Bassitt. Can he get out of this thing to start the ball game? The pitch fouled off by Pasquantino. Will do it again.
And that's one of the hardest fastballs I've seen him throw all season. 96 miles an hour down and away. Pasquantino just getting a piece of it to stay alive.
"15 pitches thrown thus far. In the top of the first inning, Bassitt takes a deep breath in the delivery, the 3-2. Pasquantino fouls it off again. This time down the first base side, a bit of a dribbler, kind of goes toward the dugout, picked up again by the ball boy. Will do it yet again, 3-2 count. Crowd starting to buzz a little bit more here, trying to rally on Bassitt. And he missed on that one. High and outside. Clocked at actually under 70 miles per hour on that curveball. And Pasquantino gets the free pass, and it brings Perez to the plate with a man on.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those 69-mile-an-hour curveballs, kind of an eephus-type curveball this season. I don't know if that was the right pitch choice for Chris Bassitt there. He was throwing very good sinkers down in the zone. He should have kept with those, especially with Perez up next.
So Salvador Perez now standing in the box, fouls off the first pitch from Bassitt, with Pasquantino now on first, 2 out, top of the first.
And Perez does not get cheated ever. He takes a huge hack at that first pitch slider, kind of that spinning slider over the middle of the plate. Chris Bassitt was trying to steal a strike, but Perez was right on it, just fouled it back.
He went 2 for 3 last night, Perez. Drew an intentional walk in the 8th inning as well. That pitch outside. The sinker no good for Bassitt. The count sits at 1-1.
There's a big hole on the right side. Vlad holding on Pasquantino at first base. Davis Schneider shaded up the middle, almost directly behind Chris Bassitt.
See if that big right-handed bat of Perez will go that way or not. Outside pitch from Bassitt, 2-1.
Although I can't remember the last time I saw Salvador Perez go to right field, punch that hole. He's been driving that baseball into the gap in left center, down the line. He's been so good, hitting every single mistake the Blue Jays have thrown him.
Pitch count already up to 20 here in the first inning, in spite of 2 strikeouts to start the game. The 2-1 delivery. And Perez knocks it over to third base. It's picked up there by Toronto. They throw it over to second, and they get the out. Great job by IKF to toss it over to Schneider to get the out, and Bassitt gets out of, not quite a jam, just simply gets out of the inning. The Blue Jays will come to the plate for the first time when we come back. No score, bottom of the first, around the corner. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikey's accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep. Because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting, because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Jordan Romano, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the first, George Springer to lead things off for the Blue Jays as he steps in. And the first pitch delivery from Seth Lugo is a ball. The sinker no good as Springer was taking 1-0. Moving quickly already, Lugo in with the pitch. Fouled off down the first base side by Springer. Count sits at 1-1. First inning brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdfood.com. The pitch from Lugo. Outside, 2-1.
And Seth Lugo only has 23 strikeouts in 38 innings pitched. He's a guy that likes to pitch to contact. He likes to keep that pitch count down. And again, he has 12 different pitches.
Working quickly thus far. That one fouled off by George Springer. And it now sits at 2-2. That sinker came inside on Springer up near the hands. He fought it off. No score, bottom of the first. First batter of this game for Toronto. George Springer, who has struggled of late. Over his last 5 games, just hitting 105. Fouls off another pitch. And trying to battle right here, Chris. 9 strikeouts in those 5 games as well.
Yeah, he's just not seeing the baseball very well right now. He's swinging at a lot of pitches that are outside of the zone, especially those sliders away.
The 2-2 from Lugo. Swing and a miss as Springer sits down again.
That was just one of those tough spinning sliders that really didn't do very much. Kind of the cement mixer that was just spinning right down the middle. As a hitter, you expect that baseball to break more than it does, and it kind of backs up on Seth Lugo, and George Springer gets tied up and swings right through it.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the big righty, the right-handed hitting Guerrero, steps to the plate and takes the first pitch in for a strike on that four-seam fastball from Lugo.
And although Seth Lugo only has those 23 strikeouts in 38 innings, he does have a decent fastball, 93 to 95.
And Guerrero with a base hit to left field. He smoked that one on a line drive, and he's standing at first with a man on for Toronto here in the bottom of the first.
Well, Seth Lugo left that slurve right over the middle of the plate. And Vlad's actually seeing the baseball a little bit better recently. He's swinging at good pitches. And that was a mistake from Seth Lugo, a rare mistake. And when Vlad's going well, he hits mistakes a lot like Salvador Perez, and he drills that baseball into left field right on a line. A nice flat swing from Vlad.
Bo Bichette comes to the plate, the number 3 hitter for the Blue Jays. Taking on the first pitch, it's a strike from Lugo on the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Bichette hitting .213 on the season. Second one comes inside. He kind of contorts the body to get out of the way. 1-1. Guerrero on first, 1 out. No score, bottom of the first. Lugo comes set. Quick peek over his shoulder. The delivery. Bichette smacks one to center field, but a relatively easy grab for Kyle Isbell. He had a beat on it right away. Makes the grab, and there's 2 down.
Bo Bichette smacked that baseball to center field. He got it just off of the barrel. I think he got it off the end of the bat, just a hair, and didn't get all of it. Kyle Isbell tracks it down in center field. If he gets that thing on the barrel, that's over the fence in center field.
So Guerrero on first, now 2 out as Daniel Vogelbach comes to the plate. The big left-handed swinging Vogelbach getting into the lineup today. And John Schneider before the game had a lot of things to say about Vogie, saying, you know, we probably need to find more at-bats for him, and he's just such a good hitter and is used to in his career facing starters. Getting a chance today as that second pitch comes in for a strike.
Well, his job has been so tough all season. A pinch hitter, lefty pinch hitter off the bench. Probably he's coming in to face a good righty who's throwing upper 90s. He's coming into the game cold. Everybody expects him to hit a homer.
And that one no good on the third pitch, a four-seam fastball. It's now 2-1, so ahead in the count. Again, Guerrero on first, 2 out, bottom of the first. Lugo looks over. The delivery, it's off the end of the bat by Vogelbach. It's picked up over in the hole. The long cross-field throw pulls the first baseman, Pasquantino, off the bag, but he got his foot back down in time to get Vogelbach at first. And we head to the top of the second. No score, Royals and Blue Jays. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hello, I'm James Corden, and I'm so thrilled for you to hear my show, This Life of Mine. Join me every week for incredible conversations and never-before-heard stories from the biggest stars in film, TV, fashion, music, sports, and more. Each week, we'll be talking about the people, the places, the possessions, music, and memories that have made them who they are today. This Life of Mine with me, James Corden. You can listen on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Stars, Channel 109, or listen on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription? What? Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
The Busted Open podcast is now available on YouTube. This is Dave LaGreca, host of Busted Open, the #1 pro wrestling show on the planet. You can now watch and listen to the award-winning Busted Open podcast every single day on YouTube. Our best interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and some of our best content from the past. All available right now when you go to youtube.com/@BustedOpenPodcast. Subscribe right now.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
The Sportsnet Radio Network.
Getting set to start the second inning from the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Eric Smith, Chris LaRue with you. The third of 3 games against the Royals, no score, top of the second, as the left-handed hitting Michael Massey, the second baseman, steps to the plate for KC. The pitch from Bassitt. Chris Bassitt, the Blue Jays hurler, misses on that first one. 1-0. Massey with a home run last night. It was his first of the season. Second pitch, good for a strike. The sinker at 94 from Bassitt, 1-1.
Yeah, Massey with that home run to right field on the lone mistake from Jose Barrios. What a start from Jose Barrios.
Massey sends it down first base side, picked up by Guerrero. The underhand toss to Bassitt is good. What a play, and a flash of the leather from Vladdy.
Well, the hardest part of that play wasn't catching the baseball. It was underhanding that ball to Chris Bassitt on the run. It's so tough to kind of lead a pitcher like a quarterback and a receiver, but Vlad does a good job there. Chris Bassitt steps on first base for the out.
Nelson Velasquez comes to the plate now, the number 6 hitter for the Royals. The righty awaits that pitch from Bassitt, and he fouls off that first pitch into the net right behind the plate. 0-1.
He is pounding the strike zone with that fastball, something he didn't do against the Dodgers in his last start. He was very erratic with the fastball, with the velocity of that fastball. There wasn't much sink to it. Today it's completely different. A lot of sink, a lot of velo, and he's locating it very well.
Velasquez hitting .226 on the season. The pitch from Bassitt is in for a strike.
Absolutely dotted on the black on the inside part of the plate. That's something you didn't see in his last start.
Velasquez kind of looks back for a moment at DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire. Didn't really seem to say a whole lot, but just had a quick little glance. The 0-2. Bassitt nods his head to Danny Jansen. And we've got a pitch clock violation being signaled from DJ Rayburn. Bassitt was seemingly in his delivery, and he's shaking his head now in frustration. He thought he was into his wind. He does not like the call. It's now 1-2. It's off the end of the bat for Velasquez, charging in for Bassitt. He picks it up, whips it to first, and gets the out.
Good pitch right there from Chris Bassitt. Another fastball on the inside part of the plate, getting Velasquez, and Velasquez has 8 other pitches in the back of his head, in the back of his mind. It's tough to react when a good fastball comes in on your hands like that at 95 miles an hour. Bassitt picks it up, that weak little two-hopper back to the pitcher, throws a strike to Vlad at first base.
MJ Melendez comes to the plate now for Kansas City. The lefty staring down Bassitt. First pitch outside, no good. Second inning presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 19+. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Bassitt, the delivery. That one in for a strike as well, as it just painted that outside edge. Got it to go on the changeup. The count sits at 1-1. Melendez with a weak swing again, dribbled out toward the pitcher, picked up by Bassitt, who runs over to the baseline, tags Melendez, and that retires the side for KC. So they go 1-2-3 as Bassitt sits them down, and we head to the bottom of the second. No score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
Take 2 in a truck, 2 in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day, Think 2 in a truck, 2 in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. He keeps this game tied
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the second. Blue Jays come to the plate. No score on the board. And the first pitch outside, no good, to Dalton Varsho. Again, he had the off night last night. Hitting .233 on the season with 6 home runs and 14 runs batted in. Second pitch no good from Seth Lugo as well, so an early 2-0 lead in the count for Varsho. The left-handed hitting Varsho stares at the third pitch as it comes in for a strike. On the sinker, it's now 2-1.
And I think Dalton Varsho wants that pitch back. That was 92, middle, and he just let it go by.
Swings at the fourth pitch and fouls it off over the Blue Jay dugout about 15 rows deep. It hits the concrete, bounces about 10 more rows back, and somebody makes a nice snag in the baby blue jersey. The Jays in white today. They wore the baby blues for 3 straight after they picked up a win on Sunday, a win on Monday. They were clearly riding the superstition train, but it didn't work yesterday as they got beat 4-1. And Varsho just got beat on a 95-mile-an-hour sinker. He fouled it off, but straight back into the glove of the catcher, Salvador Perez. So Varsho sits down. The strikeout for Lugo brings Danny Jansen to the plate.
Well, Dalton Varsho clearly was thinking off speed there. He was beat by that middle fastball. Not too hard, not overly hard, 95 miles an hour. Swings right through it.
And the first pitch to Danny Jansen, in for a strike.
It must be so hard to face these guys. I've never faced a guy that has 12 pitches. Seth Lugo says he has 12 pitches. That is just wild to me.
Second one, sinker, good for another strike, and a very quick 0-2 count to Danny Jansen. Last time we saw him a couple of nights ago, he did crank a home run on Danny Jansen night with his jersey and his goggles all over the stands. Lugo continues to work quickly. The pitch to Jansen and another strikeout. Back-to-back Ks here in the bottom of the second. 2 out.
Well, Seth Lugo loves to elevate that fastball. He loves to work down with the off-speed and then elevate that good fastball, 94, 95. That was a 4-seamer right there that Danny Jansen was well behind. Good pitch from Seth Lugo.
Davis Schneider now comes to the plate. The right-handed hitting Schneider playing at second base today. First pitch no good on a ball. Second one in mere moments from Lugo. Schneider takes a cut, no good on that one. On a 4-seam fastball, 1-1.
Is it just me, or is Davis Schneider's mustache starting to look like he's in Tombstone?
Yeah, maybe if we put a cowboy hat on him or something. He's got to get some country music or something as his walk-up song. He's behind in the count now, 1-2. As Lugo's trying to mow him down. Schneider gets a hold of one. Sends it to right field. It's deep. And against the wall, the grab is made by Adam Frazier. It kind of hung up there, and you wondered, would it have enough to get over top? But it didn't. With his back to the wall, Adam Frazier makes the catch, and the Blue Jays go down 1-2-3. We head to the third. No score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bring excitement to your landscape with Proven Winners Color Choice shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better. So they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for Proven Winners Color Choice shrubs in the distinctive white container at your local garden center, or learn more at ProvenWinnersColorChoice.com.
When Blue Jays left-hander Yusei Kikuchi strikes a batter out, fans get to witness the Kikuchi K-Strut. What is the K-Strut? It's an arms-flailing, feet-kicking, fist-pumping, head-spinning, energy-recoiling, absolutely electric strikeout celebration that, well, you just gotta see it.
He's something else, man.
On Wednesday, May 22nd, strut down to the ballpark. The first 15,000 fans get a Yusei Kikuchi bobblehead. What do you say? Find your seats at BlueJays.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Hey, this is Kevin Gosman. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Third inning, no score. Bassitt on the mound for the Blue Jays. And the first pitch is in there for a strike to the right fielder, Adam Frazier, who just finished the bottom of the second with a catch against the wall on the deep drive from Davis Schneider. Frazier hitting 185 on the season in 26 games. The 0-1 delivery. That one high from Bassitt. Third inning brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Bridgewater and Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. The 1-1 from Bassitt. Fouled off. Third base side. Deep, about 30 rows deep. That one. Another souvenir for somebody there. And I guess there was a battle because there's a late reaction from the crowd, a lot of screams. There might have been a little arm wrestle down there for that one. When it gets down in the people's feet, you never know. That's when things get dirty. The 1-2 from Bassitt. That one again sent towards left field, but this time in fair ground. Charging for it and making the grab right near the line, right near the wall in that left field side, Addison Barger.
Well, Addison Barger's clearly figuring something out over there in left field. I'm sure he's been working during batting practice and before games on being a better left fielder, but that was a nice play right along that foul line and bangs into the wall over there in foul territory.
Kyle Isbell now comes to the plate. Left-handed hitting Isbell fouls one off. So back-to-back lefties to start this inning for Kansas City. It was Frazier who just flied out, and now another one with Isbell. In fact, 5 lefties in the lineup today against the right-handed pitching Chris Bassitt, who just missed on the second pitch there. The curveball no good. It's now 1-1. Bassitt taking his time to come set, and now the pitch. That one sent to center field, right center, and coming underneath it with ease, both Springer and Varsho, and Springer at the last minute steps in front of Varsho, and they share a little smile and a laugh as they toss it back into the infield. 2 down.
Well, you mentioned that the Royals have 5 lefties in their lineup. Early on in this season, Chris Bassitt had a lot of problems facing left-handed hitters. He couldn't get that fastball in. He was hanging a lot of breaking balls to lefties, but he's doing a little bit better job, at least the second part of this season so far.
Back to the top of the order, Michael Garcia. And first pitch swinging, sends it to left center, but a great job by Barger to get underneath it on the run and making a nice over-the-shoulder catch and making it look relatively easy as well. We head to the bottom of the third. Still no score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Advent Health 400 from Kansas Speedway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah.
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Yeah. Get closer to everything that moves you wherever you are with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues. Right now on Channel 87.
It's a home run for Ronald Acuna.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy playoff basketball to reacting to the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
Don't ever take a player that you don't intend to keep all year. Don't do it. It's terrible management.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The South Carolina Gamecocks are on top of the women's college basketball world yet again.
Perfection for South Carolina. 38 games, 38 wins.
We're reacting to the perfect season and talking to the biggest names right here on Channel 374.
Congratulations, Coach Saley. What does this particular title mean to you?
This title is pretty special because it was unexpected.
Keep it locked into SiriusXM SEC Radio as we continue to break it all down and celebrate the Gamecocks' 3rd national title.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
Bottom of the 3rd inning, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa steps in, and the first pitch is a strike from Seth Lugo on a 4-seam fastball. It's now 0-1. IKF ready for pitch number 2. Lugo continues to work quickly, and he comes inside and paints the edge, and a very quick 0-2 count.
I tell you what, he does not waste any time. Seth Lugo is a quick worker.
Third pitch fouled off by IKF. We're in the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Timber Mart always has someone on deck to help you with any of your home improvement projects. Before you begin renovating, visit the team at Timber Mart. They've got the know-how to make you come out swinging on your next project. Timber Mart, Canada's building center. Lugo was building in the dirt on that one. Missed on the slurve at about 82 miles an hour. The count sits at 1-2. And IKF sends it over to first base. It's picked up by Pasquantino, and a nice toss to Lugo as they convert there to get IKF at first.
Pasquantino was way off the line there at first base, set up perfectly. That scouting report, that was a great scouting report because he was in the exact right position, way off the line. IKF drills a ground ball to him, and they get him at first base.
That brings up the youngster, Addison Barger, who just had a nice grab to end things in the top of the third. Barger stands in there right now, waiting for Lugo. The pitch. And it's in for a strike on the curveball, 0-1. Swing and a miss on the second pitch. He got a piece of it, but squeezed by Perez, and 0-2 from the big swinging Barger.
He does not get cheated. Has that long hair sticking out of his helmet.
And he just sat down, got caught looking on strike number 3 on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And the Jays, with 2 out now, bringing George Springer to the plate.
That's a tough pitch from Seth Lugo. As a youngster, you don't expect a guy to come 0-2 and throw a good heater over the heart of the plate. But Seth Lugo throws that 94-mile-an-hour fastball, very hittable fastball that Addison Barger just looks at.
Springer tried to jump on the first pitch. He grounds it to Bobby Witt Jr. Cross field throw, from the shortstop. Gets Springer in plenty of time, and the Blue Jays sit down. We head to the top of the 4th. Still no score between the Royals and Jays on Toronto Blue Jays baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NBA playoffs are in full swing.
And the superstars are now battling mano a mano.
And you can hear every second of the postseason on NBA radio.
Mitchell out front, long 3. Bang!
We're bringing you nonstop playoffs talk every day.
This is what playoff basketball is, man. This ain't about pretty stuff.
And all of the heart-pounding action every night.
To the basket, alley-oop to LeBron! Slam dunk!
Your home for the postseason is NBA Radio Channel 86 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM.
Let's go!
We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Advent Health 400 from Kansas Speedway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah!
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Yeah! Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
On Backstory, the PGA Championship, the mysteries behind Rory McIlroy's last major title a decade ago.
This is a crazy finish at Valhalla.
It was certainly very different.
And how Bob May went toe-to-toe with Tiger Woods in his prime.
Yes, you may!
Listen to Backstory, the PGA Championship, Tuesday, May 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Hey, baseball fans, the NBA postseason is in full swing, and your home for nonstop discussion every day and playoff action on the court every night is SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 and on the brand-new SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
Top of the 4th inning presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Bobby Witt Jr. stands in the box. The pitch from Chris Bassitt is good for a first pitch strike, and that one a nasty slow curveball at 70 miles an hour. Witt Jr. struck out his first at-bat, the right-handed hitting Witt, the fabulous shortstop for the Royals. Awaits pitch number 2 from Bassitt, and another curveball in for strike 2, 0-2.
I feel terrible for the guy that has to put the type of pitches on the scoreboard. Especially with these two. He's probably freaking out up there somewhere.
Just take a guess every once in a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are some of those pitches up there are guesses for sure.
Oh, yeah. Smith, Shulman, LaRue, whatever. They're just gonna say whatever I say, whatever I put on the board. Witt gets a hold of that one on the 0-2, sends it to left field, though, and straight into the glove of Addison Barger.
He's looking a little bit more comfortable out there in left field. His first play in Kansas City kind of did a little pirouette, spun around, and didn't make a very athletic play out there, but he's looked good ever since that play.
That was a week ago today, his Major League debut. Bassitt with a first pitch to Vinny Pasquantino, deep in the hole there at second base. Schneider picks it up, throws it to first, and records the out. And 2 quick outs now here in the 4th inning as Salvador Perez comes to the plate with 2 down. And that's what you like to see. I mean, you've got to face him either way, but if you're doing so with the bases empty, that's a good thing.
Nothing better than facing a guy like Salvador Perez with the bases empty.
First pitch from Bassitt.
And now everybody in the infield is shifting all the way to the left field line. Vlad is way off the line at first base. Davis Schneider is almost behind second base. Bo is in that hole on the left side of the infield.
The cutter was no good. Pitch number 2 fouled off by Perez, 1-1.
And that scouting report knows that Salvador Perez loves to pull the baseball. He pulls it on the line pretty much every single time, but he loves to pull that baseball.
Perez 0 for 1 in the ballgame. His first at bat, he grounded out to third base. And he's now behind in the count, 1-2, after that one was good on a slow curveball from Bassitt. Chris Bassitt trying to get out of this inning and bring those Blue Jay bats back up and maybe on the board. Missing outside on the fastball, 2-2.
That was outside, well outside, but good hard fastball, 95 miles an hour. Chris Bassitt is hitting another gear today.
Bassitt nods his head, gets the sign from Jansen. The leg kick and the delivery. And Perez fouls it off down the third base side. It hits the wall just beyond the Blue Jay dugout, picked up by the ball boy. Another souvenir for a young fan down there. And the crowd starts to buzz again, trying to rally on the Blue Jays and Bassitt with the 2-2 count.
That said sinker at 87. That wasn't right. I think that was a changeup.
I'll trust you. I'll let you handle that one. I'd just be pressing buttons if it was up to me. Bassitt with the pitch. Perez fouls it off, and it gets behind Jansen, so a new baseball coming for Chris Bassitt. Blue Jay fans, the Jays Care amazing 50-50 jackpot ends tonight, and you could take home $2.3 million. I mean, it's just under 2.3, but it's going to be more than that by the time the game ends. Go to bluejays.com/5050. Got to be from Ontario or Nova Scotia. The 2-2 pitch from Bassitt to Perez. Here in the top of the 4th with no score. And Perez fouls off another one. Forgot to mention, if you end up winning, you're going to get a call from Buck Martinez.
That's the best part.
Yeah,
I've said that a million times. That's the best part.
All right, so if we win, you take the call from Buck.
I will give back the $2.2 million.
Yeah, you give it right back to me then. Sorry, Buck. I want the money. I'll pay you to call me tomorrow. Bassitt, 2-2 to Perez. And it came up high. It went off the bat of Perez, and it's squeezed by Jansen, so that's going to be a strikeout. Perez doesn't like the call. He's talking to home plate umpire DJ Rayburn, and Rayburn saying, yes, that caught a piece of the bat. Now he's calling in the rest of the umpiring crew.
Well, I think he swung anyways. Regardless of whether that hit the bat or not, I think Salvador Perez made an attempt to swing at that baseball.
That's a swing.
His bat came through the zone. That's an easy call for any one of those base umpires.
100% that's a swing. I mean, that's not even close to a check swing.
But DJ Rayburn was saying that was a foul tip, and it was a strike regardless, but he did make an attempt at swinging at that base. I think if Danny Jansen pointed down to first base, he would have been rung up regardless.
Now, is there any chance that Perez is trying to claim that it hit him? Because it certainly didn't.
Well, I'd love to see the replay. I mean, possibly. I'm not down there, so I don't know. But I would say possibly a guy like Salvador Perez probably wouldn't try to do something like that, I would imagine.
The crew of DJ Rayburn, Brian Walsh, Adam Hamari, and Vic Carapazza, the umpires in this ballgame. And they are coming away with a decision. They now go over to talk to Matt Quatraro, the manager for the Royals. The Blue Jays still standing on the field, kind of in a line down the third base side.
It looks like they're going to take a look.
Challenging the hit by pitch.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Not hit by pitch call, excuse me.
You're right. I think Salvador Perez is saying that ball hit him, but he swung, so it doesn't matter. That's the difference. He actually attempted to swing at that pitch. The bat came through the zone, and when that happens, it doesn't matter if that ball hits you.
Well, and they just announced that the Royals are challenging the non-hit by pitch call. So A, did it even hit him?
Yeah, it did. Hit him right in the knuckle.
But B, he did swing.
It was a full attempt at swinging at that baseball. The baseball did graze his knuckle. This will be a tough one. But it was almost a full swing.
And I think that's what Bassitt is signaling right now. He's kind of palms to the sky looking at the umpire saying, hold on a second. Why are we even looking at this? That's a swing, to the point you just made, Chris. Even if it hits you, if you swing the bat, that should be a strikeout.
I've seen guys get hit in the chest, in the stomach. If you offer at that baseball, it is a swing. Salvador Perez knows he swung at that baseball. He's been around long enough. But the Blue Jays are starting to walk back on the field, so we'll see what happens here.
Still awaiting a decision, and we're going to get it right here.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. It was a hit by pitch. Kansas City retains its challenge.
So, can you explain that to me?
I'm confused because So John Schneider is very upset. He's about 10 feet out of the dugout with his hands up in the air, yelling at whatever umpire is listening to him. He knows that he attempted to swing at that pitch, but I don't think that's a reviewable play, though. That's the problem. I'm not quite sure. I don't know the exact rules there, but I think that's why John Schneider is so upset, because he can't really do anything about that call.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. We'll get your answer in a second. When you talk about other guys that have swung, or been hit in the chest, in the arm, as you said, if I'm describing it correctly, if I'm taking out a pitch or making an attempt to swing and then it hits me, it's hitting me after it has already passed my bat. If it hits the hand and then the bat comes through, does that nullify anything right away because it hit me first?
That is a brilliant question. I'm unsure of the exact answer to that, but I do know if you offer at a pitch, if my barrel comes through the strike zone, right, and breaks that imaginary plane, and the ball hits me in the stomach, let's say,
but
that is a strike.
The bat, right?
That is a strike.
Okay.
Yes, I understand your question, because the bat didn't come through the zone before that ball hit him in the knuckles. I get that. I totally get that. That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that, but from my knowledge, I think it is still a swing, but I'll have to clarify that.
Well, the left-handed hitting Michael Massey is at the plate and down 1-2 in the count. We've been trying to unravel this thing, and it doesn't matter because Massey just struck out, took a big cut, and Bassitt gets out of it. So in spite of the confusion, let's say, over the play with Perez, Bassitt retires the side, still has yet to give up a hit, and we head to the bottom of the fourth. No score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 Men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Romano offers an 0-2. Swing and a miss. There are two down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the fourth, and the first pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is no good on the slurve. 1-0 to Vladdy. No score. And the second pitch missing outside as well. Guerrero ahead in the count, 2-0.
So Show Ali sent me a text.
All right. You mean about the game, I hope? Just not in
general? What we're doing after the game. So the check swing isn't a reviewable play. So because the third base coach called him safe on the check swing, they only reviewed to see if he was hit by the pitch, and he was. And I think that's why John Schneider was so upset. That's why Chris Bassitt was so upset.
The 3-0 to Guerrero was in for a strike, and he just fouled off the next pitch. It's now 3-2. Guerrero was not happy about that fourth pitch. He thought it was a ball. He was shaking his head in disappointment, frustration with DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire. And now a 3-2 count after he was ahead 3-0. Again, no score, bottom of the fourth. Only one hit in the ball game total from both sides. Lugo misses inside, and it's a free pass to Vladdy.
And now because Seth Lugo is so good, he's been so good this whole season. He's been so good at getting double plays, getting guys to ground out, all those good things, and Bo Bichette has been struggling. I wouldn't mind if we manufactured some sort of run here, put the runners in motion, maybe a hit and run here.
Bo Bichette at the plate, tried to jump on the first pitch, sends it to right center, and coming underneath it, the center fielder, Kyle Isbell, records the out. One down.
A lot like the Dodgers did on the weekend against the Blue Jays. They put pressure on the defense. They stole bases, they hit and ran. They did a lot of things that I think the Blue Jays should be doing. John Schneider and I have a differing opinion on how to manage a baseball team. He's a very good manager, I'm not saying that. I just like manufacturing runs. I like putting pressure on the defense. I like being aggressive, and John Schneider is a little bit more laid back in that respect.
So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. standing on first. Bichette just flew out. It brings up the cleanup hitter, the DH, Daniel Vogelbach. The delivery from Lugo on the first pitch. The changeup, no good, 1-0. Second pitch outside as well. So now Vogelbach ahead in the count, 2-0.
Good take by Vogie right there, is shaking his head. He knows that wasn't a strike, just kind of curved around the strike zone.
And that one paints the outside edge. It's good for a strike. On the fastball, it's 2-1.
That was a Picasso right there, right on the black, on the corner there, down and away. About as good as it gets from Seth Lugo.
Comes back inside. Vogelbach contorts his body to get away from it. He thought that was way inside, did not like the call.
Hate to break it to you, Bogey, that was a strike.
Now 2-2. And Vogelbach with the left-hand swing chops it down to first. They throw to second. Diving into second base, Guerrero is called out, but Vogie sprints his way down first, and he rumbles to get there. He's safe.
That was actually a great play from Pasquantino at first base. I didn't think that he had a chance at Vlad at second base. John Schneider and Gil Kim are looking at this play in the Blue Jays dugout, but he makes a good throw to Witt at second base. And then Witt tries to get Vogie at first base. They don't get him, but good play from Pasquantino at first base.
That brings up Dalton Varsho as now Vogelbach stands on first, but there's 2 down. First pitch to Varsho, outside, no good, 1-0. Bottom of the fourth, no score. Lugo missing again, now 2-0. So the Jays have been getting ahead in the count quite a bit in this inning, but they have yet to be able to manufacture much. See if Varsho can do something right here. Missing again, 3-0 on the sinker from Lugo.
And just to let you know, Eric, Vogelbach has 0 career stolen bases, so...
With due respect, I'm not surprised.
They will not be putting him in motion.
And ball 4 to Varsho. That will bring Danny Jansen to the plate with 2 out and 2 on. So the 2 lefties, Vogelbach and Varsho, get on base. Now the right-handed hitting Danny Jansen steps up here in the bottom of the fourth with no score.
I want to say that was a good at-bat from Dalton Varsho, but all 4 of those pitches were nowhere near the strike zone.
That one was the first pitch to Jansen, straight down the middle. Good for a strike on that slurve. Comes inside this time on Jansen. No good. On the fastball, 1-1. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue from the Timbermark broadcast booth here in the 4th inning. The Jays trying to get on the board with a man on second and first. Jansen swings, sends it up the middle. It's maybe partially deflected by Lugo, and it's picked up at second base by Massey, who easily steps on the bag just ahead of the sliding Varsho to get the out and send the Blue Jays packing here in the 4th. We head to the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports.
Crucial NBA playoff doubleheader tonight. Sirius XM NBA Radio with the play-by-play of the Boston Celtics looking to eliminate the Miami Heat. Then it's the Los Angeles Clippers hosting the Dallas Mavericks. Their playoff series tied at 2. NBA Radio, Sirius XM Channel 86, and the Sirius XM app.
Sirius XM Sports. Wherever you are, your team plays here. Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues. Right now on Channel 87.
It's a home run for Ronald Acuna.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy playoff basketball to reacting to the NFL draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
Don't ever take a player that you don't intend to keep all year. Don't do it. It's terrible management.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Nobody covers the National Football League like SiriusXM NFL Radio.
Mahomes fires it late for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown!
Get the latest news from OTAs to minicamps, all the way through training camps.
We don't care about expectations. Talk doesn't win games.
Our panel of experts is getting you ready for the 2024 season.
The more I watch this guy, the more I like him.
There's a story for every team on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
The 5th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance, helping Canadians through it all. Desjardins Insurance. Insurance with a heart so big, it shows. 5th inning with Bassitt still on the bump for Toronto. No score between the Royals and Jays. Toronto just had 2 on in the bottom of the 4th, but they weren't able to do anything with it with 2 down. KC got out of the inning. And now here in the top of the 5th, Nelson Velasquez comes to the plate to start things off. The number 6 hitter, the right-handed hitting Velasquez, grounded out to Bassitt in his first and only at-bat in this ballgame. .224 on the season with a couple of home runs and 8 runs batted in. Velasquez down 1-0 in the count, or up 1-0 in the count, I should say, and now even at 1-1.
That 50-50 draw is now $2.305 million. Just crossed over that $2.3 million threshold. It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. You go to bluejays.com/5050 in Ontario and Nova Scotia. Third pitch. No good for Bassitt on the curveball. Velasquez up in the count 2-1. Bassitt with the leg kick and the delivery. Broken bat to third base. Picked up by IKF. Kiner Falefa throws across the field to Guerrero, and they get the out, punching out Velasquez a couple of feet ahead of the throw.
And he absolutely demolished Velasquez's bat with a good hard sinker in on the hands. That looked like that ball almost hit him in the hands. That was a great pitch right there to break Velasquez's bat on that weak ground ball to third base.
So Bassitt still dealing right now and trying to work quickly to the next batter, MJ Melendez. Melendez swing and a miss on the first pitch, and he has certainly been in a funk. We talked about him quite a bit last night and the issues he's been having lately as his averages dropped down to 176 on the season. Second pitch comes in and it catches an edge on the outside. Maybe a generous call, but you'll take it and run if you're a Blue Jay fan. 0-2 now. Melendez down the left-handed hitting MJ Melendez. He steps out of the box for a moment. Over his first 12 games of the season, he was hitting .325. Now, over the last 15 games, .060. That is a funk. He is 3 for his last 50. And in fact, I can now update that because he, in his first at bat, grounded out to Bassitt. He's now 3 for 51. The 1-2 count to Melendez. Bassitt with the leg kick and the delivery. Fouled back by Melendez. Back over the left shoulder of Jansen.
And they just keep running him out there. Every single day they keep running him out there, and at some point he's going to have a day off. Obviously, if you're hitting .064, .060, 3 for your last 50, that's tough. You have to have an off day.
Bassitt with the pitch, came inside. Check swing from Melendez. They say no good as they look down to Vic Garrapaza down at third.
But we've seen him a lot over the last 10 days. This is the 7th game that the Blue Jays have played against the Royals over the last 10 days. And Melendez just looks lost. He's swinging at pitches that he normally doesn't swing at.
Bassitt tried to come inside again, missed pretty badly on that one, and now back-to-back balls for Melendez. It's a 3-2 count.
And you can even see there, that pitch was up around the neck, and Melendez is almost offering at that. A big league hitter shouldn't be almost offering at that pitch. It's clearly out of the strike zone by a lot. And Melendez is just lost right now.
And now Jansen wants to have a quick word with Bassitt. He runs up to the mound and has a couple of words for his pitcher. Want to make sure you don't lose this guy, MJ Melendez, especially, again, considering he's 3 for his last 51 over the last 15 games and counting. This is the 16th game today.
Sorry, 3 for 51. I said 3 for 50.
That's all right.
I misspoke.
That's all right. We'll let that one slide. You're allowed one mistake, Chris. Just one. Melendez, the left-handed hitting left fielder. Waits for the pitch from Bassitt. And Bassitt gets Melendez. A nice little pep talk from Jansen. It certainly worked as Melendez sits down. And the Royals, with a couple outs here in the top of the 5th, send Adam Frazier to the plate.
Well, obviously Melendez is not seeing that elevated pitch very well. I talked about the fastball that he almost swung at in the previous pitch, and then he swings at that elevated cutter that's out of the zone and swings right through it.
Adam Frazier, the right fielder today, left-handed hitting right fielder. Looks at the first pitch, and a nasty curve came in from Bassitt. 0-1. The St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Twins and White Sox tied at 4s in the 7th inning. One of Chris's former teams, the Pirates, down 1-0 to the Athletics. That one in the bottom of the 3rd. Mariners and Braves, no score in the 3rd. As Frazier swings and misses at the second pitch. It's a splitter at 86 and an 0-2 count.
I'm disappointed at those Pirates. They started off hot. Now they're 14-17.
To me, if it's not the best ballpark in baseball, it's top 3.
Well, you've apparently never seen the Rogers Center, my friend.
I didn't say that. Rogers Center isn't 1 or 2. Come on now.
Joking.
Come on.
I'm just joking.
Don't get me in trouble with the Rogers bosses. No.
I guess technically they are our bosses.
I don't need Mark Shapiro or anybody else coming through the door. Tom, lock the door behind us. The 0-2 to Adam Frazier. Bassitt looking for back-to-back strikeouts here in the top of the 5th. No score. The wind, the delivery. Ground ball out to second base, picked up by Schneider, over to first to Guerrero, and the Jays retire the Orioles. We head to the bottom of the 5th. No score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Nobody covered the 2024 draft like NFL Radio.
The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
Crossed off the first pick in the NFL draft. Very blessed, very honored.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
It's a real moment. It's something I dreamt about since a kid.
The New England Patriots select Drake May.
One of the best sports towns in the country, and I can't wait to play for the Patriots. Just out to Pass Nation.
Sirius XM NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
We're talking college basketball on ACC Today.
Great run for NC State men's basketball. The story of this team is one I don't think anybody will forget.
They were able to accomplish a lot. They captured the hearts and the minds of the nation. DJ Burns became an absolute star nationally. I love it.
ACC Today, weekdays from 8 to 11 a.m. Eastern. ACC Radio, Channel 371, and the Sirius XM app. Blue Jays fans, your manager, John Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Just looking really for, especially the guys at the top, looking for those guys to get rolling and confident that they will. But I think once they do that and once we kind of do that, things will kind of even out the way we hope they would to start the year.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89 and the Sirius XM app.
Hey, baseball fans, the NBA postseason is in full swing, and your home for nonstop discussion every day and playoff action on the court every night is Sirius XM NBA Radio Channel 86 and on the brand new Sirius XM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
David Schneider comes to the plate for the Blue Jays to start things off here in the bottom of the 5th. As Seth Lugo delivers and caught the outside edge with the slider. 0-1. Schneider flew it to second in his first at bat of this ball game. The 0-1 check swing, but he went. No. Wow. Jays might have got a gift right there. Either that or I'm wrong.
Well, this is turning into another pitcher's duel. Of course, last night we saw Cole Reagans and Jose Barrios, and now Chris Bassitt and Seth Lugo.
The 1-1 from Lugo came inside on Schneider, fought it off on a foul ball back towards the on-deck circle. And now Lugo ahead in the count, 1-2.
And I guess it's not turning into a pitcher's duel. Is it technically already a pitcher's duel
it is,
in the 5th inning?
Yeah, we're halfway through. Lugo missing outside to Schneider. A good take there. Good eye. That slider at 86 outside of the zone. It's now 2-2. And Lugo ready to roll already. And it looked a little high. At least Schneider thought so. But not according to home plate umpire DJ Rayburn, who just punched out Schneider. And there's one down.
Well, from the replay, it looked like a strike. It just clipped the edge of that strike box. Probably by about a hair. And I can see why Davis Schneider didn't like that call, but that was clearly a strike.
That brings to the plate the number 8 hitter, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who grounded out in the 3rd. First pitch comes in as a ball on the fastball from Lugo. 1-0. And another ball. Now 2-0 for IKF. That slider missing from Lugo, up to 64 pitches now in the bottom of the fifth with no score. That one in for a strike. IKF taking the entire time.
You know what I'm starting to see less and less of now is the Davis Schneider fake mustache. But you know what I'm starting to see more of?
The redheads?
The Justin Turner red beard.
Yeah, the beard.
I'm liking it. I'm liking that look. It's a good look.
I agree.
Mustache is too popular.
See,
I'm
I
over
would
the
say
mustache.
we could do it, but we both have beards, so maybe we'll get Tom to throw one on. Kiner Falefa with a long fly ball towards the right corner. No good. It's into the stands. Gave it a bit of a ride, but it was foul the entire time. Now 2-2 here for Isaiah Kiner Falefa. The injury report brought to you by Bergmanis Prera Personal Injury Lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Prera Personal Injury Lawyers. Your focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Prera will take care of the rest. The pitch comes in, and IKF sends it to center field. Charging in for it and making the grab, Kyle Isbell. And there's now 2 down.
Well, there's not much to talk about on the injury report, is there?
Not a ton.
Although the obvious elephant in this room, in this stadium, is will Alek Manoah replace Yariel Rodriguez or won't he? I think he will. John Schneider said today that they're unsure. They have options, a lot of things going on. But I think Alek Manoah, after that start that he had last night, 6 innings, 12 Ks, he's ready.
And again, the injury report brought to you by Bergmanis Prera Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit bplawyers.ca.
What do you think?
I think they bring him back. And I'll tell you what, they've got a decision to make relatively soon as well. I don't know the exact timeline in terms of when the decision will come, but we're starting to see Kevin Kiermaier get back doing work before the game. He's been getting into the cage. He's been taking ground balls. He's been doing a lot of running. Addison Barger with a bouncer to the mound, picked up by Lugo as he tosses over to first, and the youngster goes down as he came to the plate quickly and sat down just as quick. So that retires the Blue Jays. The 5th inning ends, and we are still scoreless. We head to the top of the 6th. Zeros on the board on both sides. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bring excitement to your landscape with Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better, so they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs in the distinctive white container at your local garden center, or learn more at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.
We're 2 men and a truck. And we've got lots of men and lots of trucks. Whether you're planning a move to a new home or to a new office down the hall, big or small, we move them all. We even sell packing and moving supplies. But no matter what you need, we'll do it with a smile. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. So when you're planning your next move, call 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
The hardest work should lead to the best quality of life. If you're a skilled trades worker, you might not be feeling that way right now. But in Alberta, skilled trades workers earn more, save more, and live more with better wages and a lower cost of living. Visit albertaiscalling.ca to learn more about the $5,000 moving bonus for the first 2,000 skilled trades workers who move to Alberta, stay for a year, and successfully apply. A message from the Government of Alberta.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Marshall smashes the ball to right field. It's gone!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 6th inning, Chris Bassitt with the first pitch in there for a strike to the number 9 hitter, Kyle Isbell, the center fielder for the Royals. Left-handed hitting Isbell, 0 for 1 in the ballgame. Flew out to third in his first and only at-bat. Bassitt getting set for pitch number 2, the leg kick and the delivery. Swing and a miss from Isbell, 0-2. 6th inning brought to you by Desjardins Insurance, helping Canadians through it all. Desjardins Insurance. Insurance with a heart so big, it shows. A deep breath from Isbell as he waits for the delivery from Bassitt, 0-2. Tried to paint that outside edge and missed. It's now 1-2. That sinker clocked at 94. And at least one fan's trying to rally on the rest with some major screams going on down below us.
Hey, it's a good ball game. 0-0 in the sixth.
No doubt a pitcher's duel, much like we saw last night, with Kansas City ultimately coming out on top 4-1 with the victory in this rubber match today. It's been a grind, to say the least, for both offenses.
Well, the Blue Jays would love to get this victory. They have the off day tomorrow, the first off day in 13 days. They want to enjoy that off day in Washington, of course, one of the most beautiful places to have an off day.
I spent 5 days there last summer on a little mini vacation. Gotta love DC. Back-to-back balls coming from Bassitt, missed with a curve and then missed on that four-seam fastball. And now battling back in the count, Kyle Isbell. It sits at 3-2. You don't want to give a free pass to the number 9 hitter. Maikel Garcia waiting on deck. The pitch. And it's sent to left field off the end of the bat, and that's the first hit of the ball game for KC. It's in that left field corner, and it's a stand-up double for Kyle Isbell. I mean, that's even worse than a free pass. He's now standing on second with none out. He leads off this sixth inning with, again, Kansas City's first hit of the day.
Well, that was actually a good pitch from Chris Bassitt. Started down the middle, a good sinker, and sunk away. Actually off the plate, Kyle Isbell does a great job going with that baseball and kind of just filleting it down the left field line. He's now standing on second base with Maikel Garcia up at the plate.
Garcia 0 for 2 in this ballgame, lays down the bunt. It's picked up by Bassitt, who comes in to get it, throws to first, gets Garcia, but he does his job as he moves the runner to third with just one down.
And how beautiful is that? Manufacturing a run, moving a base runner over, and now you have your best hitter in your lineup and Bobby Witt Jr. coming to the plate. I don't know why that's such a lost art to be able to do that. Managers today don't want to manufacture runs. I think I'm a new school guy. I love the new analytical approach to baseball, but moving runners over just like the Royals did is such a lost art.
Witt Jr. fires one up the middle. The infield had come in. It was split in between Bassitt and Schneider into center field, and Bobby Witt Jr. has KC on the board, leading 1-0 here in the top of the sixth.
And just like that, you put pressure on the defense, you force them to bring the infield in, and then Bobby Witt Jr., who is so good with the bat, just hits that baseball up the middle out of the reach of Bo Bichette. But when that infield comes in, the average starts to go up.
Vinny Pasquantino steps into the box now. Left-handed hitting first baseman with a man on first. It's Bobby Witt Jr., and no doubt a base-stealing threat. He has been torturing the base paths in the early part of the season.
He has 9 stolen bases.
Bassitt looks in at Pasquantino. The delivery. Pasquantino sends it to center field. Charging back for it is Varsho. He can't get there. It's off the wall. He picks it up off the bounce, throws it in to the cutoff man. Bichette bobbled it for a moment, and the Blue Jays got lucky there. Witt had stopped. Obviously, if he knew that Bichette was going to bobble it, he would have turned that corner and gone in. But Pasquantino launched that for his 7th double of the season, and now KC is threatening big time with second and third, just one out, and Salvador Perez stepping to the dish.
Well, Dalton Varsho did a great job in center field getting that ball off the hop, off that wall out there, and he makes a perfect throw to Bo Bichette. If he didn't make that perfect throw, if he didn't get that ball off the wall like he did, Bobby Witt Jr. is coming around third base and scoring. That was a good job by Dalton Varsho.
Pete Walker comes out of the Blue Jay dugout to have a chat with his entire infield and, of course, his starting pitcher as well. Blue Jays in a jam right now in the top of the sixth. They were rolling until this inning began. Chris Bassitt had thrown a no-hitter through 5. But Kyle Isbell led off the inning with a double, ultimately scored after getting pushed over to third on a Garcia bunt. Witt cashed him in. on a single up the middle, and now Witt stands on third with Pasquantino on second after Vinny just had a double moments ago. So again, second and third with Salvador Perez at the plate. He just fouled off the first pitch from Bassitt.
And now all 4 infielders are in on that infield grass, trying to cut off Bobby Witt from scoring. But Salvador Perez is so smart. He's going to try to lift the baseball, hit it out to the outfield, and score that run from third base.
1 out, 2 on. Salvador Perez this season hitting .480 with 18 runs batted in with runners in scoring position.
He's a dude. He is a dude.
I would say those are dude numbers. Missing on the high heat, Bassitt. It's now 1-1. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue from the Timber Mart broadcast booth here in the 6th inning, approaching 4:30 Eastern time. Perez waits for the pitch. Bassitt in there, came inside, and even though Perez fouled it off, Bassitt, barking at himself, was not happy with that pitch.
Yeah, anytime he misses a spot, he obviously wears his emotions on his sleeve. Nobody is guessing how Chris Bassitt feels after every pitch. We all know, and we can see how he's feeling. He missed his spot down and in there, and Salvador Perez just barely missed it, fouling it back, but Chris Bassitt obviously screaming at himself after making that pitch.
Perez waiting for Bassitt, who's ahead in the count at 1-2. KC with 2 on, second and third, with 1 out in the 6th.
And the Blue Jays do have that open base at first base, so Chris Bassitt will probably be careful here, especially with 2 strikes.
The delivery, and it's past Bichette at short. Perez sends it into left field. It's picked up by Barger, who throws it in. They hold Pasquantino at third, but Perez does his job as he gets the RBI, and now KC leads 2-0, and Perez now has a 21-game on-base streak.
Yeah, when that infield comes in, those averages go way up, and you can see just how pumped Salvador Perez after that base hit. He slams the bat on the ground, looks at that first base dugout, claps his hands. That's a big run, especially with Seth Lugo on the mound. He is pumped.
Michael Massey, the left-handed hitting Massey, the second baseman. A ground out and a strikeout in this ball game. His average has dropped to just an even 200, but he's got a runner in scoring position right now with Pasquantino on third. Perez is at first. Kansas City with 2 runs in this inning, leading 2-0. The 0-1. Bassitt tried to come inside. Massey taking the whole time. That was well inside. 1-1.
And that's why I was saying that you have to be careful to Salvador Perez with 2 strikes. You have to throw something either elevated out of the zone or you have to bury something. They tried to elevate it, but it was in the strike zone, just at the top of that strike zone. And a good hitter like Salvador Perez can easily do something with something that is in the strike zone.
Bassitt to Massey, who sends it to second. Great diving catch by Schneider. Throws to first, gets the out, but the run came in from third as Pasquantino trots in to put KC up 3-0. Great job by Schneider either way, though. A beautiful play at second. Massey still doing his job to get the RBI.
Yeah, great job by Davis Schneider, knocking that baseball down, picking it up, throwing it from the seat of his pants to Vlad at first base. His glove actually almost came off. It was about halfway off his hand there. He makes a good throw to Vlad, but the Royals scored their 3rd run of the ballgame and now lead 3-0.
Nelson Velasquez now steps in with 2 out. And another runner scoring in scoring position, with Salvador Perez out at second base. 3 runs here in the 6th inning for Kansas City. They didn't have a hit until this inning. They now have 4 hits and 3 runs. Doing damage here midway through the game. Swing and a miss by Velasquez. He bit hard on that sweeper. It's now 1-1.
And we have action in the Blue Jays bullpen. Trevor Richards is now getting loose out there. Chris Bassitt has thrown 87 pitches.
Bassitt got that one. It caught the top of the zone. Velasquez didn't like the call, but he's now down 1-2. He calls for time to gather his thoughts for a moment, trying to keep this inning alive for the Royals. 2 out, 1 on. Royals up 3-zip. And finally, DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire, says, let's go. The clock starts. Bassitt on the rubber. The leg kick and the pitch fouled back by Velasquez. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. The Tigers beat the Cardinals 4-1. Brewers over the Rays 7-1. And a whole bunch of action coming up later on this evening. 4 other games underway right now, including this run right now between the Royals and Jays, with KC up 3-0. The pitch from Bassitt, just missed outside on the heater. It's now 2-2 to Velasquez.
Danny Jansen tried to steal that strike and frame it, bring that glove back over the plate, but DJ Rayburn not being fooled by it. Good job from Danny Jansen, though, trying to steal it at least.
Perez out at second. Velasquez at the plate with the 2-2 count. Bassitt delivers. Tried to come inside too much. It's now 3-2. And Bassitt has now gone over 90 pitches, sitting at 91 officially. Crowd's starting to buzz a little. They want to get out of this inning. And that one is fouled high in the air towards the first base side, and an easy grab about 10 feet from the bag for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So Velasquez sits down, but not before the Royals get 3 runs on 4 hits. They now lead 3-0. We go to the bottom of the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Move to 3 decades of undeniable rhythm from a salsa icon. Mark Anthony's Muévense Radio. Essential hits, timeless influences, and personal stories from a star known for conquering the big stage and the big screen. Mark Anthony's Muévense Radio. A limited run channel now on Channel 107 and in the SiriusXM app.
The South Carolina Gamecocks are on top of the women's college basketball world yet again.
Perfection for South Carolina. 38 games, 38 wins.
We're reacting to the perfect season and talking to the biggest names right here on Channel 374.
Congratulations, Coach Saley. What does this particular title mean to you?
This title is pretty special because it was unexpected.
Keep it locked into SiriusXM SEC Radio as we continue to break it all down and celebrate the Gamecocks' 3rd national title.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
24/7, 365. Coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. Radio Network.
Bottom of the 6th. As George Springer will start it off. And if you're going to do some damage, Chris, it would maybe be good to do it right now. Top of the order for the Blue Jays. As Springer saw the first pitch go in for a strike. The second one no good on the slurve. It's now 1-1.
Well, Seth Lugo has been nasty all day, giving up only 1 hit through 5 innings. And now his ERA is 1.47 on the season.
And Lugo delivers on the 1-1. Springer with the check swing, and they're going to say he went. It's now 1-2.
And I made a joke earlier in the broadcast about the fact that Seth Lugo has 12 pitches, but he does a good job utilizing those 12 pitches.
Tried to get Springer to chase on the slurve right there. He wouldn't bite. That went into the dirt. It's now 2-2. Kansas City with 3 runs in the top of the 6th, now leading 3-0. And Springer tried to jump on that one, sent it down the third base side. Foul. He's close to the line, but not that close. Still a good swing from Springer on the sinker that came in at 93. As I noted, Springer came into the ballgame hitting just 105 over his last 5. Sends one up the middle past the mound, though it's picked up at second, though, coming across the bag toward the shortstop side. Massey makes the grab and then whips it over to first to throw at Springer. A nice play there by Michael Massey.
Well, Michael Massey was shaded towards second base. Perfect scouting report, playing up the middle, makes an easy play there, coming in on that slow ground ball from George Springer and throws him out of first base.
That brings up Vladdy, 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. In fact, the Blue Jays' only hit of the game is from this man right here, back in the first inning. Second pitch, no good on a sinker. It's now 1-1. The big right-handed hitting Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They could use him right now. Lugo with the pitch. Missed that one low, went outside. It's now 2-1.
In Vlad's career against Kansas City, he's hitting .314, 7 homers, 17 RBIs, and a .409 on base percentage. He loves, needless to say, he loves playing against Kansas City.
Lugo, the pitch. Vladdy fouled it off, straight down into the dirt. Now 2-2. Chris LaRue, Eric Smith in the Timber Mart broadcast booth in the bottom of the 6th inning with the Blue Jays trailing 3-0. Missing outside. That one no good from Lugo on the fastball. It's now 3-2. And we'll see what Vladdy can do right here. Already with a walk in this ball game. And a hit. And he gets punched out on the 3-2, and he's not happy about it. The slow walk to the Blue Jay dugout. He did not like it there as Lugo registers the strikeout. And we take a look from our TV friends. That certainly did seem to catch the zone.
Yeah, I don't think he's upset at DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire. I think he's upset at himself for not at least trying to fight that pitch off. 2 strikes, you have to try to do something with that pitch.
And a first pitch strike to the next hitter, the number 3 hitter, Bo Bichette.
You have to at least try to foul it off, fight another day. It's a good pitch from Seth Lugo, a guy that has just been throwing good pitches all day long.
Tried to come inside now on Bichette, missed on that one, 1-1. And Bichette sends it to short. Diving up toward the middle, Witt with a great grab and throwing from his knees to get Bichette at first. What a play by Bobby Witt Jr. The Blue Jays go down 1-2-3 and trail by 3. We head to the 7th, 3-0 KC. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
Bring excitement to your landscape with Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better. So they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs in the distinctive white container at your local garden center or learn more at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikey's accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball painted at the bottom of the zone, and that's back-to-back strikeouts.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 7th inning as KC gets set to bring the offense back out on the field. The Blue Jays hand the ball now to Trevor Richards as Chris Bassitt is done for the day. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Richards facing MJ Melendez, who swings and misses on the first pitch, 0-1. And Melendez gets under one on the second pitch, sends it to right field. And just before the track, George Springer gets underneath it, makes the grab, 1 down.
MJ Melendez was way out in front of that Trevor Richards changeup right down the middle, but clearly expecting something harder than that, and he just hits a weak fly ball to George Springer in right field about 20 feet in front of that fence. Looks like a party's going on out there. Work from dome party.
I don't think there's a lot of work getting done there, except for the elbow. Tell you what, the new outfield sections here at Rogers Center, the renovations they've done over the last 2 years, it's fantastic in terms of the social component. The left field corner right by the foul pole, there's a little section you can stand and watch. Of course, that party section that Chris just spoke about in right field, and even beyond the bullpen, the visitors' bullpen out and right as well. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, come on down to Rogers Center, and I would recommend not just sitting in your seat, wander around and check out some of the renos.
Well, it's definitely a lot more fan-friendly now. That's what I enjoy most about it.
The 1-2 pitch to Adam Frazier, and he gets punched out. Richards came inside with a heater. Frazier doesn't like the call, and the lefty sits down, and 2 outs already in the 7th. Richards doing his job. That brings Kyle Isbell to the plate, the left-handed hitting center fielder. After a long and successful 6th inning, KC going down pretty quickly here in the 7th, and Richards hoping to finish it off right now with Isbell. Kansas City leading, though, 3-0, thanks to that 6th inning I just spoke of. The 0-1 pitch, no good on a fastball, 1-1.
And Isbell, the one that started that rally with that double down the line off of Chris Bassitt, the first hit in this ball game.
The 1-1 catches the outside edge. They call the strike on the changeup, and now Richards ahead, 1-2. That one got away from Richards into the dirt. Isbell kind of offered at it a little bit, but they said no, he held back.
Well, it's probably a good thing that he didn't offer at that, because that ball hit off Danny Jansen and went straight towards that Royals dugout. Kyle Isbell's got some speed, so I'm assuming that he could have beat that out if he has actually offered at that pitch, which he didn't. Good thing for Trevor Richards.
The 2-2 pitch now to Isbell. Broken bat sent towards short, picked up by Bichette, throws it over to first, and beats Isbell with the throw. Vladdy with the squeeze, and the Royals go down 1-2-3. We head to the bottom of the 7th. The Blue Jays with just 1 hit. They got to get the offense going. We'll see if they can do so in a moment. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep, because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
How country is Blue Jays pitcher Chris Bassitt? He's so country, he showers in his boots. His truck needs 3 parking spots. He's so country, he played the banjo in his high school band. Chris Bassitt is so country that he wants you down at the ballpark for Country Night. Arrive early on Country Night to get your Chris Bassitt Hound on the Mound bobblehead, live country music, and featuring a pregame performance by Owen Riegling. Country Night, Friday, May 17th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big, on this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swanson staring at second, comes home with a 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 7th inning, and the Blue Jays come to the plate trailing 3-0. Daniel Vogelbach is going to start things off. Hunter Renfroe into the ballgame for Kansas City. Defensive change for the Royals. He replaces Adam Frazier, who was in right field. Vogelbach, 1-1 the count. Trying to get things going for the Blue Jays here in the 7th. And that one in there, Vogelbach not swinging, and he's shaking his head. After that changeup caught him, it's now 1-2. And he just got punched out. It was high and inside, but it certainly caught the edge. And Vogie sits down looking the strikeout for Lugo, who continues to deal some nasty stuff today.
Yeah, Lugo hasn't given up a hit. Well, he's given up just 1 hit in this ball game, but that hit was from Vlad in the 1st inning. It is now the 7th inning, the bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays are down 3-0.
We'll see now if Dalton Varsho can get things going. He walked in his last at-bat. The Jays have had a couple of runners on today, but again, just the 1 hit, as Chris just mentioned. That one into the dirt. And Varsho goes over to pick it up. Nice little sportsmanship there. When a ball is sent deep to right field, be there to catch it. Rogers Landing is the perfect place to watch a game and catch some home runs. Visit BlueJays.com/outfield district ticket to get your tickets and maybe catch a ball. Well, the Royals are going to catch this one, I assume. Yep, an easy one for Garcia as Varsho popped it up to the infield, and the third baseman, Michael Garcia, comes over to grab it. We were just talking about that spot, that Rogers Landing area out in right field. And unfortunately, the Jays haven't sent anything close to any district today with just the 1 hit from Vladdy. And now can they get a 2-out rally going with Danny Jansen coming to the plate? Jansen with a check swing on that first pitch. They're going to say he didn't go, so it's 1-0.
Well, Seth Lugo has not only been tough today, but he's been good all season. He's 4-1, and now he has a 4.41 ERA.
And Jansen just got under one, sends it to left field, and it's gone on a line drive frozen rope. Jansen hit it 364 feet. It's a solo shot, and the Blue Jays have some life here in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, he did not miss that pitch from Seth Lugo. A good swing, a good flat bat path, and he drills that baseball on a line just barely over that wall in left field into the Blue Jays dugout. Sorry, bullpen.
Davis Schneider comes to the plate now. First pitch, no good, 1-0. Lugo missing on the second pitch as well. That one a little bit high. It's now 2-0.
And that was a hanging slider from Lugo to Danny Jansen, and he stayed right on it. Good swing right there.
Lugo comes inside now on Schneider, 3-0. So could the Jays mount a little 2-out rally here in the 7th? They just got one in, and they're now trying to get Schneider on. The 3-0 count from Lugo. Straight down Main Street, no doubt about that one, with the fastball clocked at 92. It's now 3-1.
Well, Schneider wasn't swinging there, but he wants that pitch back, that's for sure.
He swings at that one, fouls it back just to our right, up and over the plate and into the stands. A souvenir for somebody, and now 3-2. So Lugo has battled back here after down 3-0 in the count.
A little bit of life in the building now.
Yeah, let's go. Keep that buzz going. Or not. Schneider just got caught looking on the strikeout, and we're going to go to the 8th. Toronto got one on the board. They trail 3-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
An American tradition for 150 years.
They're up in the Kentucky Derby.
And you can hear the Run for the Roses live on Sirius XM.
And it is going to be Leach to win the Kentucky Derby.
Join us Saturday, May 4th at 10 a.m. Eastern for Down the Stretch with Dave Johnson. Then at 2, Steve Bick is live at Churchill Downs for the pre-race show. And at 5 Eastern, hear the 150th Kentucky Derby on NBC Sports Audio Channel 85 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your Sirius XM subscription? What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on Sirius XM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. Sirius XM Sports. We're more than just a game.
While you're listening to this game on Sirius XM, we're talking about the latest odds and prop bets for this and every game on Sports Grid Radio.
The under's minus 125. Heavy juice to the under.
Every home run hit and every strikeout thrown can change the line.
I can't for the life of me figure out how you can favor a team that never wins, ever.
If you're looking for sports talk centered around the latest odds and prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159.
Hi, this is Alexa. Did you know you can listen to this game on devices with Amazon Alexa? Download the Sirius XM app, then tell me to play the Blue Jays on Sirius XM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 8th inning, the out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. We'll give you a couple of scores in a moment as we get set for the first batter of this 8th inning. It's Michael Garcia taking the first pitch, but it's in for a strike. 0-1. Nate Pearson on the mound for the Jays. Pretty good job last inning for Trevor Richards, but now Pearson comes in to try and keep things rolling for Toronto as they trail 3-1. Second pitch, no good. It's now 1-1.
Are you excited to actually be able to watch that Bruins Maple Leafs game tomorrow night? We have a rare off day.
I'm even more excited that we don't have to come in and battle and deal with the traffic downtown. That's even better. Swing and a miss from Garcia. It's now 1-2. So that's kind of like the out-of-town scoreboard because it involves a game that's tomorrow, but we're updating folks on things.
Well, we're not here tomorrow, so we have to update them on what's happening tomorrow.
Braves leading the Mariners 5-0, bottom of the 4th. Pirates now trailing the Athletics 3-zip in the top of the 6th. Bottom of the 9th, White Sox at home down 10-5 to the Twins. It's been a rough year to say the least for the 6-24. Looks like it's going to be 6-25 White Sox. Blue Jays a game below 500 right now, hoping to avoid back-to-back losses before they hit the road, as they will have an off day tomorrow, but they will be heading to Washington for a 3-game set Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Nationals. Garcia takes on the 4th pitch from Pearson. It's a ball. It's now 2-2. So Toronto won the first game of the series, lost yesterday, and right now the Royals ahead in this rubber match here in the top of the 8th. It's 3-1 Kansas City. Garcia with a check swing. Jansen wants to have a look, but nope. It was no good, says Brian Walsh, the first base umpire. Garcia has fought back to 3-2. The leadoff hitter here in the 8th inning with Bobby Witt Jr. on deck. This is the chunk of the lineup that did the damage back in the 6th to give KC the 3-0 lead at the time, and it's now 3-1.
And this is the guy that Nate Pearson has to get. You have Bobby Witt Jr. coming up next, then Vinny Pasquantino, and then the always dangerous Salvador Perez after Pasquantino.
And that one fouled off as well. Back behind the play. Chris had his hand out, but it wasn't that close.
You could have reached down and got it.
You think so? I'm 5'9", buddy.
Yeah, but you have long arms, though.
Okay. The 3-2 to Garcia. Another one fouled back. Up and over the plate and into the stands as Pearson continues to battle against Michael Garcia. Swing and a miss. Pearson got him. It took a little extra time, but he ultimately got the job done. There's one down here in the top of the 8th.
That slider is starting to come around for Nate Pearson. He throws that good one down in the zone, and Michael Garcia swings right over it.
Bobby Witt Jr. comes to the plate. The fabulous shortstop, right-handed hitting Witt. 1 for 3 today. And he sends it straight back to Pearson. It deflects off Pearson, out towards second base, and Witt is going to be on there with the infield single.
And that's one of those plays where, as a pitcher, you have to know where your defense is. And Davis Schneider was shaded up the middle. Nate Pearson
just let it go.
You have to let that go. Nate Pearson tried to get it, and he just tips it. And Davis Schneider tries to barehand that baseball, but Bobby Witt Jr. is way too fast. As a pitcher, you have to let that go, especially on a slow roller like that.
Vinny Pasquantino now comes to the plate with a man on. Witt out there at first base, and again, he's got the speed threat. Pasquantino, in his last appearance, had the RBI double. Pearson with a look over the shoulder at first, then delivers to Pasquantino, and that one no good on the second pitch. He misses on the fastball, clocked at 98. It's now 1-1.
That's a big run out there for Kansas City. I would imagine that they'll try to put him in motion at some point.
A little token throw over to first.
I guess the Blue Jays are thinking the same thing. As Nate Pearson throws over to first base, Vlad didn't even try to tag Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt, one of a number of players in the American League to sit at 9 stolen bases, so he's tied for the lead. That one sent past the second baseman Schneider into center field, and Pasquantino with a clutch hit, and that will bring up Salvador Perez with 2 on and only 1 out.
Well, the Blue Jays are lucky that Bobby Witt Jr. stayed at second base. He was thinking going to third, but he put the brakes on about 4 or 5 steps past second base. He probably would have made it if he kept going. Might have stumbled a little bit, but runners on first and second, and Perez is up at the plate. Yeah, he did stumble a little bit. He was thinking third the whole way and probably would have made it, but he stumbled coming around second base.
So Perez now looming as a big-time threat in the box. Pearson to Perez. Missed on the inside edge. It's 1-0. As I said, this was the chunk of the lineup that did the damage back in the 6th inning, giving Kansas City a 3-run lead. It's now a 2-run lead at 3-1, but they're looking to put a couple more on the board right now. Perez stares down Pearson. The delivery, and he hits one to center field. It's high and plenty of room for Dalton Varsho. It gets underneath it and throws it in to second. Witt back onto the bag, and Pearson with a big-time showdown right there against Perez wins that battle. There's now 2 down.
Yeah, it's always good to win a battle against Salvador Perez, hitting .358. And like we've talked about earlier in this ball game, so good with runners in scoring position, especially with less than 2 outs. You get a guy like that to pop out, keep the runners where they are. And now you got Michael Massey. Still a good hitter. He hit that 2-run homer yesterday, but not Salvador Perez.
Massey 0 for 3 today with 2 out and 2 on here in the top of the 8th. KC leading 3-1. Pearson to Massey, the left-handed hitting Massey. The second baseman takes on the first one. It's 1-0. His averages dip below 200 now at 194. Pearson delivers. Massey fouls that one off. It kind of dribbles over toward the Blue Jays on deck circle, picked up by the ball boy. Count sits at 1-1. Just past 5 o'clock Eastern time, with the Blue Jays down 3-1 in the top of the 8th. A swing and a miss on that one. Might have got a piece of that as Jansen squeezes. Either way, it's a strike, and now a 1-2 count. What a better way to celebrate on a Canadian holiday than by receiving your Canadian Closers replica jersey on Monday, May 20th. The first 15,000 will get a Jordan Romano replica jersey. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions. The 1-2 pitch from Pearson came too far inside on Massey. It's now 2-2. That's a 3:07 start. Another, I guess, technically work from Dome, but you're not really working because it's a holiday. It's Monday, May 20th. Some people do work on holidays, though. I know Chris LaRue will be. So will Tom Young. And Massey just got under one to right field. A deep one hooking towards the corner, towards the pole, and it's off the pole. It's a 3-run shot from Michael Massey. And Chris, you called it. He's not as looming as a threat, but he hit his first homer of the season last night on a 2-run shot and a big-time 3-run bomb to now give Kansas City a 6-1 lead.
Yeah, he didn't get all of that baseball. He only hit it 357 feet, 100 miles an hour off that bat. But he got just enough of it, hitting the foul pole down the right field line, and now the Royals lead 6-1.
That is a punch to the gut for the Blue Jays. As Velasquez takes the first pitch from Pearson, it's 1-0.
I think the biggest thing there for Nate Pearson is you threw him too good of a pitch with 2 strikes. That's the thing for pitchers. You have to throw an unhittable pitch, especially with 2 strikes.
Velasquez swings at the second pitch, sends it to right field. Plenty of room for George Springer to get underneath it toward the line, about maybe 15, 20 feet off the line. He makes the grab to end the inning. But Kansas City, with 2 out, got a 3-run shot from Michael Massey. They lead now 6-1 going to the bottom of the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bring excitement to your landscape with proven winners, Color Choice Shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better, so they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for proven winners, Color Choice Shrubs, in the distinctive white container at your local garden center, or learn more at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
The hardest work should lead to the best quality of life. If you're a skilled trades worker, you might not be feeling that way right now. But in Alberta, skilled trades workers can earn more, save more, and live more with better wages and a lower cost of living. Visit albertaiscalling.ca to learn more about the $5,000 moving bonus for the first 2,000 skilled trades workers who move to Alberta, stay for a year, and successfully apply. A message from...
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Chris Stratton into the game now, the right-hander for Kansas City, as Seth Lugo's day is done. And what a performance he turned in today. Gave up 2 hits over 7 innings, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. And now Stratton pitches to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to start the bottom of the 8th. The second pitch in for a strike. It's now 1-1 to IKF.
Well, Lugo lowered his ERA from 1.66 to 1.60. He's having a good year.
Swing and a miss from Kiner-Falefa. It's now 1-2. The Blue Jays were hoping that the flip of the calendar would flip the script on their offense, which certainly struggled in April. But game number 1 in May, thus far not looking so good. Down 6-1 in the bottom of the 8th. With only 2 hits this afternoon, they're looking to get things going and see if they can have a late rally here over the last 2 innings and maybe steal one. Kiner-Falefa, bouncing ball over to third, picked up by Garcia, and he throws out Kiner-Falefa at first. 1 down. That brings Addison Barger to the plate. Barger playing in left field today, and he's looked pretty good, pretty comfortable out there. At the plate, 0 for 2. So still just the 1 hit in his young career. Love to see him get going because I feel like it could be real nice if he does get going. Got a lot of power, and he showed that in the minors. First pitch, a ball. Second one comes in, catches that outside edge. It's now 1-1.
Well, I made a joke when after he got his first big league hit that now he can not press as much.
Huge cut right there from Barger. Down 1-2.
But it seems like he's pressing just a little bit, still waiting for that first big league homer. So now he's starting to expand. He's starting to swing at pitches that he wouldn't normally swing at. We saw that earlier on in this ball game.
The 1-2, Stratton tried to get him to chase, but he threw it in the dirt on the changeup.
A good take right there. But I think he kind of has to zone in and wait for his pitch. In or third. He's a guy that has a huge, aggressive swing. So if he starts getting wild in that strike zone.
Well, he just jumped on one there, ripped it down the right field side, but it's into the stands.
And that's his zone right there. He got a fastball on the inside part of the plate, and you can see he has really quick hands, and he brings them through quickly and rips that line drive foul into the bleachers. He just needs to swing at pitches like that.
Sends another one foul toward the Royals dugout. It actually bounces up into the dugout. Still battling at 2-2. I was watching him in batting practice, and he launched one into the WestJet flight deck out in center field. But again, that was BP. It's the real deal right now, facing Stratton. Chris Stratton, the reliever for KC, with the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Barger sits down.
Well, I think the biggest thing with him, especially with 2 strikes, you just have to cut down the aggressiveness. You have to shorten up your swing and try to put the ball in play. And I've seen him for 18 at-bats now, and he hasn't really done that. Every time he's gotten to 2 strikes, he swings like it's an 0-0 pitch, and you can't do that, especially in the big leagues. Pitchers are way too good. They'll see your holes, and they'll make a good pitch. That's just something you don't really see that often in AA and AAA. Guys don't make as many good pitches, but in the big leagues, if they see that you're being aggressive with 2 strikes, they'll take advantage of that.
First pitch to George Springer, no good. Check that, they did call it a strike. Second pitch, though, a little bit too low, and that one a ball. So it's now 1-1 to Springer. He's 0 for 3 in the ball game and has 10 strikeouts over his last 6 games, including today. That pitch from Stratton, no good on the sinker. Springer up in the count, 2-1. Stratton with the pitch. Springer sends it up the middle, and that is a big one for Springer. Whether the Jays come back to win this game, finally getting a hit for Springer, could that breathe some life into him heading onto the road trip? A 2-out single into center field for George Springer. And the Blue Jays have a man on here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, in his last 7 games, he was 4 for 26, hitting just 154. So that swing right there, that base hit right there has to feel good for him.
Now Vladdy steps into the box. Guerrero Jr., 1 for 2 today with a walk. Springer on first.
And Vladdy could get into one here. He gets into one. It's a 6-3 ball game. You never know.
Big cut from Guerrero Jr., missing on that one. The fastball clocked at 93. A 1-1 count.
Well, he was definitely trying to get into one with that swing. That was a big, aggressive Addison Barger type swing from Vlad.
The 1-1, and Vlad pops it up. Behind the backstop toward the on-deck circle. Easy grab for Perez. And Vladdy stands on the plate literally with his hands on his hip and has a quick little laugh with Salvatore Perez. And that will do it. Jays down 6-1 going to the 9th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Kentucky Derby has been an American tradition for 150 years.
They're up.
And you can hear the fastest 2 minutes in sports on Sirius XM.
And it is going to be Leach to win the Kentucky Derby.
Join us Saturday morning at 10 Eastern for Down the Stretch with Dave Johnson. Then at 2, Steve Bick is live at Churchill Downs for the pre-race show. And at 5 Eastern, hear the 150th Kentucky Derby on NBC Sports Audio Channel 85 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Each night after the horn sounds, NBA Radio has you covered with the best analysis of all the games.
When healthy, they check a lot of boxes.
We'll break down the playoff action.
Tatum saw it coming, picked it up, drives in, and throws it down with 2 hands.
And take you inside the locker room to hear from the players and coaches.
It seemed like we had a lot of guys that were getting banged up, but we were able to get the job done.
Hear the NBA Radio Playoffs postgame show every night throughout the postseason on NBA Radio Channel 86 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
This is Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum and host of the Sirius XM original podcast, Black Diamonds. Hear stories about the legends of the Negro Leagues and conversations with the all-time greats they've influenced, like 5-time World Series champion Derek Jeter.
I don't care what race you are. You need to know your past. This is U.S. history. It's not just baseball history.
Hear over 70 episodes of the award-winning Black Diamonds podcast, available now on the Sirius XM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Scotty Scheffler is the Masters champion.
The biggest events in golf are on PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
Top of the 9th inning from the Timber Mark broadcast booth. Chris LaRue, Eric Smith with you. Kansas City leading Toronto 6-1 as Garrett Hampson's going to come into the ball game. He'll be coming in for MJ Melendez. And maybe understandably so, as Melendez has struggled mightily for the last 15, 16 games. See if Hampson can get something going right here. Top of the 9th. Kansas City leading Toronto 6-1. Only 3 hits on the afternoon for the Blue Jays. The pitch, broken bat, sent to third. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa picks it up, throws to first, and gets the out. Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. We can update you on a couple of scores here. Pirates down 3-0 still in the 7th inning. Atlanta up 5-0 on the Mariners in the 5th. And in the 3rd, Phillies leading the Angels 2-1. The pitch coming in for a strike to Hunter Renfroe.
I am almost certain that Chris Sale is nasty again. He is having a Chris Sale type season, and today he's leading the Seattle Mariners 5-1 in Seattle.
And Brendan Little working quickly right now for the Blue Jays. Got that first out from Hampson. And now up 0-2
Sale
Hunter Renfroe.
Sale struck out 8 today in just 4 2/3. That's Chris Sale type of numbers. His ERA this year is now 3.47. Probably not as low as he would want it, but
it's
pretty
early.
good.
We're only a month in. And that ball in the dirt from Little, I just gave him some love, and then he missed badly on that one, on the knuckle curve. Doesn't matter, though. Nobody on. And he had some stuff to play with there on the 0-2 count, and it's now 1-2. And he's got the duster going now, too. Brendan Little, certainly not in Davis Schneider or Tom Young territory. The 1-2 and a swing and a miss from Renfroe. And Renfroe sits down. There's now 2 out here in the 9th.
Well, Davis Schneider is in Tom Selleck category.
Very true.
That is a 9.9 out of 10 in my opinion.
Well, you gave him the Tombstone shout out earlier. Now you're giving him the Selleck shout out.
Well, I think the Tombstone is with the little hair underneath your lip as well. I think that's the Tombstone look. Davis Schneider, of course, does not have that. It's just the broom above the lip.
No brooms today, though. Nobody's going to get swept, as the series has been split thus far. But this is the rubber match, and right now it's leaning heavily in the favor of the Kansas City Royals as they lead 6-1 in the top of the 9th. Kyle Isbell at the plate just took strike number 2 as he missed on the first one. Second one came in as a strike as well, and now Little delivers way high, 1-2.
And this is a big outing for Brendan Little in his first game against the Dodgers. He gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs in just an inning and a third. This would be big for his confidence right here.
The 1-2. It's hit towards second base. Charging in Schneider. Throws it over to first to get the out. And we head to the bottom of the 9th. A lot of work to be done, but put your rally caps on, folks. Jays down 6-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Next pitch, Moniak takes off. It's low a ball, throw down to second. They got him!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Ali with you at Baseball Control in our downtown Toronto studios. Jays trail the Royals 6-1 as we head to the bottom of the 9th. Don't forget, Jays Talk's coming up this afternoon. Blair and Barker have you covered today. They'll be on both radio and TV. You can leave Blair a message alongside Barker. The backleg line is open, 416-413-3959. You hear Barker's voice instructing you to leave your name and location. On the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, 2 games in Stanley Cup playoff action tonight. Golden Knights at Stars, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 360. Oilers-Kings Game 5. Puck drop goes at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Sportsnet, Sportsnet 1, and the CBC. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Jays trail 6-1 as we head to the bottom of the 9th. Is Eric Smith and Chris LaRue at the Rogers Center with the call.
All right, thanks very much, Show. Bottom of the 9th, and a pitching change for the Royals as Nick Anderson into the ball game. No, not the former Orlando Magic guard. It's the right-handed hurler, Nick Anderson, in 12 games this season, sporting a 3.27 ERA, and the first batter he'll face is Bo Bichette. It's down in the dirt low, 1-0. Jays need 5 to tie it, 6 to win it. I'm looking down, and I see a few rally caps. Not many, but a few. Hats probably cost too much these days. You don't want to bend it in the wrong way. Anderson with the pitch, and Bo kind of jammed up a little bit, pushes it to right, diving and making the grab out there, and what a play from Hunter Renfroe.
Well, his feet actually got tangled up in the turf. That looked like it hurt. But Hunter Renfroe with the great diving or sliding feet first catch. Nick Anderson clapping his hands in appreciation.
Looked like Renfroe got a late jump on it too, so that was an impressive play. The dive and the tumble. Either way, it's an out. And it brings Toronto to their final 2 outs of the ball game with Daniel Vogelbach coming to the plate. Batting .095 on the season, 0 for 3 today. And he checked that swing and definitely went in a quick 0-2 count. Anderson looks in at the sign. And that one high and outside, 1-2. Been a relatively quiet crowd today, but understandably so, as the Jays haven't done a whole lot, but Vogelbach's trying to change that. Just sent one to the gap in right center. The big turn at first, and he's going to get there. Vogelbach standing on second, and all right, the Jays are trying to make something happen.
Good job from Daniel Vogelbach. Just keeping this inning alive as Kevin Biggio comes running out. He'll pinch run for Vogie out at second base. But a good swing from Bogey, hits that good line drive into the gap in right field, keeps this inning alive, keeps this game alive. Blue Jays still down by 5, but better than nothing.
So Biggio out at second running, as Chris just mentioned, stepping to the plate. It's Dalton Varsho. Varsho was swinging a hot bat about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. The great thing to get him going again right here. Toronto could use a big swing. Anderson, the delivery on the 1-0. It's good for a strike, now 1-1. $32,307. The announced crowd today. I thought there was more last night for Looney Dog Night, but they're saying no. Today's attendance about 3,000 higher.
A lot of people like to work from Dome.
$2-1 now. That sinker missing to Varsho.
There's a lot of laptops out. People working, watching the base. No, I'm just kidding. There's no laptops.
I was going to say, I don't think
I don't even know if you're allowed to bring a laptop in.
Other than you and me, I don't think I've seen any. Now Varsho takes another one. A good eye there. It's 3-1. Anderson takes a look at second. Now delivers to Varsho, who pops it up. It's Shaolin left. Backing up is Witt, but then charging in to make the grab out in left field. That's Hampson, who had come into the ballgame. Garrett Hampson records the second out. And the Blue Jays down to their final out here in the bottom of the 9th.
But the lone run came off the bat of Danny Jansen, who's coming to the plate. He hit that good line drive homer into the bullpen earlier in the ball game. And he's looking pretty good recently.
The first pitch to Jansen is in for a strike, 0-1. Jansen held off on that second pitch that missed for Anderson. It's now 1-1. Jansen without the batter's gloves, gripping that bat, wide stance, staring at Anderson, who delivers. And Jansen gets under one, sends it to left field, but that one's hooking foul, and it bounces off the front of the second deck. Just got out in front of that one.
Yeah, it was a slider from Nick Anderson. Jano's seeing the ball very well right now. That one had enough distance. It was just about 100 feet foul.
1-2. Down to the final strike. Jansen trying to keep this game alive. Anderson, swing and a miss, and that will do it. The Kansas City Royals, after losing the opener to the Jays, get back-to-back victories. They win the series. They took it 4-1 yesterday, and they win this one 6-1 to send the Blue Jays onto their road trip with back-to-back losses.
Chris Bassitt pitched very well early in this ball game. He didn't give up his first hit until the 6th inning, but Seth Lugo battled him pitch for pitch. Tough couple of games. Blue Jays came up against Cole Reagans, who has some of the best stuff in all of Major League Baseball, and then Seth Lugo, who dropped his ERA to 1.60. Lugo throwing 7 innings. It's a tough game. Tough game overall. This offense has to get going. Bo Bichette has to get going. We've seen flashes of Vlad, but those two guys have to be the leaders of this offense. Danny Jansen can't be leading this offense. Dalton Varsho cannot be leading this offense. It has to be Vlad, and it has to be Bo, but those guys are pretty much nowhere to be found right now, especially Bo Bichette.
So again, Toronto loses 6-1. We'll come back and get set to wrap things up. We'll have a little bit more of a chat about things and get you set for Jays talk as well with Blair and Barker. Toronto losing 6-1 to the Royals. It's Blue Jays baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Bring excitement to your landscape with Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better. So they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs in the distinctive white container at your local garden center, or learn more at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Kikuchi has struck out 4 of the last 6.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. The Blue Jays losing the third of 3 against the Kansas City Royals. 6-1 they lost last night, 4-1, so 10-2 the Kansas City offense besting the Jays over the final 2 games of the series. And now Toronto falls 2 games below 500 as they have an off day tomorrow and then get set to face the Nationals in Washington on Friday, a 3-game series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And, of course, we will have it right here for you on the Sportsnet Radio Network and at sportsnet.ca. The Blue Jays today losing to the Royals 6-1 behind 7 hits from the Royals. Jays had 4 hits and only the 1 run off the bat of Danny Jansen with that home run in the 7th inning. The Royals were hitless through 5 innings, but they got things rolling in the 6th. Bassitt to Massey, who sends it to second. Great diving catch by Schneider. Throws to first, gets the out, but the run came in from third as Pasquantino trots in to put KC up 3-0. And that was kind of it. When you think about it, Chris, Perez came to the plate. We were talking about it. He's always a threat. It's always an issue. And after Kyle Isbell got things going with a double to start that inning, he got bunted over to third by Michael Garcia. Then Bobby Witt Jr. came up, got a base hit. Pasquantino with the double, and then Perez with the infield in. Always a threat, and he made Toronto pay. And that ultimately was the biggest damage in a sense because it put Kansas City up 3-0. They end up winning 6-1. Yeah, there was a Massey 3-run home run a couple innings later, but really it was the clutch hitting as always, from Salvador Perez.
Well, you have Bobby Witt Jr., who's been so good with runners in scoring position. He kind of simplifies the game. A lot of hitters, when you think of a run producer, and the Blue Jays don't really have a run producer. I would have thought that maybe Bo was in a couple of years ago, even last year. Vlad was a few years ago, but they don't have a true run producer. And when I say run producer, it's a guy that can simplify the game. They don't let the game speed up when there's runners in scoring position. Second and third, you're not trying to do too much. You're not trying to swing for the fences every single time. You're just trying to hit a good line drive, make good contact, hit something in a gap somewhere. And the Royals have two guys that can do that. Bobby Witt Jr., who is one of the best in the league, just in general, but with runners in scoring position, he's one of the best in the league. And then you have a guy like Salvador Perez, who's been that guy for 99% of his career. He comes up with guys on base. He doesn't try to do too much. He just hits the ball up the middle. He knows that the infield is in. And when the infield is in, averages skyrocket. That is a fact. Your average goes way up. The chances of you getting a base hit with the infield in are very high. And Salvador Perez, if he comes to the plate with the infield in, I mean, he's salivating. He's drooling because he knows that the chances of him getting a base hit are skyrocketing. And this Royals team, I'm telling you, they are going to be good for a long time. I don't know how much longer Salvador Perez is going to play, but he's still a dude. We talked about that. He is still a dude. He is 33 years old. He's played for over a decade, and he is still a guy getting beat up every single day behind the plate. He's a guy that comes in and just produces every single day.
Well, Kansas City with the win today now sits at 19-13, and at least for the time being, they have matched the win total of the Central leading Cleveland Guardians at 19-10. So they've played a couple of fewer games. So they will still be on top of the Central. But again, matching the win total for now at 19. And a big comeback for KC because they were in a bit of a funk. They had lost a few games in a row before dropping this first one to Toronto and then coming back to win the next two in pretty decisive fashion. I mean, it was a defensive battle. It was a pitcher's duel last night. And Jose Barrios got bested. Same thing today. Yep. Bassitt's throwing a no-hitter through 5. Ultimately loses the game. And that says something about Kansas City from both ends of the spectrum, both what they did with their defense and their pitching and also with the timely hitting and eventually getting enough on the board to win the game.
Well, I think the biggest thing when you look at this Toronto Blue Jays team and the roster, in my opinion, on the offensive side they're constructed to win games. Ross Atkins expected Vlad to be better. He expected Bo Bichette, of course, to be the guy that he was last year, hitting over 300 and producing. But you can't expect the Blue Jays starting rotation and this bullpen to be lights out every single day. That just puts so much pressure on them. And you look at this game today, Chris Bassitt was throwing a no-hitter through 5 innings, and it was almost like he needed to do that in order to win because this Blue Jays team just couldn't come up with anything. And that's why when I talk about small ball, producing runs, putting pressure on the defense, moving runners, those are all incredibly important things when an offense is struggling mightily, just like the Blue Jays are. You have to. I would love to tell John Schneider, hey, man, the offense isn't great right now. Start moving runners. Start manufacturing runs. Start putting pressure on the defense. Of course, I'm not going to do that. But that's where I think this team is right now. With the starting rotation is so good, the bullpen is so good. If you start manufacturing runs and putting pressure on the defense, I think this Blue Jays team is going to be infinitely better.
Well, they have a chance to maybe start the small ball and get the offense going on Friday in Washington, an off day tomorrow. But that game against the Nationals coming up on Friday, it's going to be a bit of an earlier start, right around 6:40 Eastern time, and we will have the call for you, that first of 3 against the Nationals on Friday night. Again, thanks to our entire production crew and broadcast crew, Show Ali, Tom Young, Derek Brandeo, for Chris LaRue. I'm Eric Smith. Thanks for tuning into Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network, as we now send it over to Blair and Barker for Jays Talk. It starts now.
All right, let's change it up a bit and talk Leafs. No? Guess not. It is Blue Jays talk with Blair and Barker on the Sportsnet Radio Network, soon to be joined by our friends on TV. 6-1, the Blue Jays have lost to the Kansas City Royals. Frankly, just go back and replay our last 12 Blue Jays talks because it's pretty much the same damn thing. Chris Bassitt today, a no-hitter through 5. And we looked at each other in the 4th inning and said, "This is if any team's going to lose a no-hitter, it's this team." I think the easiest way to describe this game is the fact that the Royals' best hitters showed up and came through. The Blue Jays' best hitters, once again, were missing in action.
Yeah.
And at no point, well, I'll tell you what, when the Royals got their 3 runs in the 6th, we both looked at each other and, we came into the studio and got ready to go because the game was over. 416-413-3959 is the back leg line. That's the number to reach out, leave a voice note, leave your name and location, please. Kevin, I've said this in the past, and I know you've said this as well. Your opponents will tell you what they think of you.
Mm-hmm.
When a team gets on base, it's a double from the number 9 hitter, immediately sacrifices in the sixth inning. They're telling you that we're going to win this game 1-0.
Absolutely.
They are. There's no other way to look at it.
I ask you this: what if you're John Snyder or Ross Atkins? What do you do?
How
do you fix it? I just don't know, other than, coming out and saying that we still have faith in, I don't want to say the core, middle of the order. What else is, moving around the order is going to help? That's going to help.
We talked
George Springer. Is that going to help anybody else? Who's that going to? How would that help anybody?
Who do you want to have an extra at bat right now? Who do you want to move up into the leadoff spot and have an extra?
Dalton would be the obvious
Dalton
choice,
would be
right?
The guy.
But is it Dalton's fault? Talking to his dad, listen to his dad talk, listen to Dalton talk. Simplifying it is very important for Dalton. Look, and you ask him to move around the order. If you're leading off, you're thinking all of a sudden now, if you're Dalton, take more pitches, work more counts, get deeper into counts.
Look, let's just
pass the baton that way. There's not really anything that's an obvious choice that they could do. That's the dilemma.
Let's just say that right now. I don't think there's anything John Schneider can do. This is up to Ross Atkins. Just as this roster was put together.
Sometimes you need your boss to step up, right, and do some things. And I think right now's the time.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
And if Ross Atkins can't or won't do anything?
And now, again, what can you do? That's the big question is, it ain't like they got a ton to trade.
Nope,
do you make big-time trades to get a middle-of-the-order bat this time of the year? Probably not. So what are you doing? Is it something they're doing off the field that's not translating between the years? Look, that's the question, right? Is team meetings don't work. They just don't. It's good to sit in a room and have conversations, between your buddies and all those things, and then have team. It doesn't. I've been in many of them. They never work.
At this point,
it's eyewash.
At this point, it's not working on the field. The team is dead ass. Can't put it any other way. They are. They're a tough
offensively.
Watch right
they
now.
are.
Offensively, they are. Yeah.
Dead
ass.
Absolutely.
They are a dead ass offensive team.
Yeah. 3-0, it's over.
They got nothing
That's
going
the way
on.
it feels anyway.
And, I think if you look back what was said in the offseason, are we surprised that they're a dead-ass offensive team?
No, it's predictable.
We're joined now by our friends on TV.
Hi, everybody.
It is Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker. I was just describing the Jays as a dead-ass team. You got me in the middle of a full rant.
It's not really a rant. It's Captain Obvious.
Captain Obvious.
It is.
Matter of fact, 416-413-3959. See the little number at the bottom of the screen?
We want solutions. God, tell us, because we don't know what they are.
We got nothing.
What is the
I don't
solution?
know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
We don't.
I'm mechanicaled out, and middle of the order, praying and hoping that they get hot. Like, I know it's only a month into the season, but this has been going on since about June of last year.
You're khakkied and analytic out, and you're processed out.
Absolutely. Like,
so
what's
anyhow,
the
416-413-3959. Help us.
Yeah, we want to know the
call,
answers.
Leave a voice note. Leave your name and location. Send us a text. 590-590 is the text line. And obviously talk about today's game, a 6-1 loss. Chris Bassitt
that's good.
Had a no-hitter.
Yeah, he's throwing hard. You can tell he's mad at himself.
He was.
Yeah, he hasn't
96.
He hasn't had a good start to his year. The sinker was moving, location was better, the curveballs were unpredictable. Like, he was throwing the split finger more. He had just mechanical confidence in everything because he was every once in a while he go out there and angry.
Yeah,
he was angry today. Good for him.
The Jays are 15-17 now. 3 runs in the 6th inning by Kansas City. Again, Kansas City's big players came through. A 3-run home run by Michael Massey.
Yeah.
Off of Nate Pearson. I mean, it was over when it was 3-1. 6-1 just
28 games this year, scoring less than 5 or more.
And they lost the game they scored 8 runs in, by the way.
Yeah, to the Yankees.
So we're awaiting John Schneider's trip to the podium. And once we get queued up, we will take you live to the podium. The Jays have tomorrow off. You
know what happens on days off, Jeff?
Nothing good
happens. What did I
happens
always tell you?
Put your cell phone away.
I was leaving it. You want to send me down, you're going to have to come get me.
Anyhow, I don't know what the point is.
Come get me.
I mean, you made the point. What do you do here?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're Ross Atkins, your 2 top pitching prospects are hurt.
Relvis Martinez, you trading him? What are you getting for him?
I mean, I don't know.
Trading, one of your starting pitchers? What do you get? I mean, right now, I just don't know what the answer is. And again, I know why in the offseason they were saying the part of the core is going to take us where we're going to ultimately end up. Well, what if the core looks like this? And what do you do? I mean, this is why you have bosses, to step in and have some urgency. John speaking.
John Schneider, manager of the Blue Jays.
Thanks, guys.
Oh.
That was quick.
That was quick.
I mean,
is that it? That was John?
Well, I mean, look, what can he say?
I don't know.
I mean,
let us know when you have John Schneider, and we will.
You guys see the same game that I'm seeing. It's literally Groundhog Day.
Oh, it is.
It
is Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
there's not much doubt about that. But to get back to our point, I mean, look, this is the issues plaguing this team. First of all, you've got to ask yourself: does Ross Atkins he think there's an issue here? I don't know. Maybe there are underlying numbers that suggest this team should be better.
How would you shake that any other way than when you're being lumped in with the White Sox and the A's,
which is where you are offensively?
You absolutely in a lot of categories. Like, there ain't no khaki sitting around in that room can go, hey, boy, this is how you do it. Stay right there. Like, you can't. Like,
maybe
there's no way you're selling that to players on that team that matter.
Early.
You can't.
It's
not early anymore.
Process.
It's not. The process has been happening since June of last year. How's that going?
Well, anyhow.
Well,
but to get back to our point, where are the answers here? Maybe you've got the answer. Where are the answers? What are the answers for this lineup? Bringing up Relvis Martinez. I mean, I don't like the idea.
What would it hurt?
I mean, Addison Barger was tearing the cover off the ball at AAA. That's all I'm going to say. Now, he may not. Relvis Martinez may be better than him, but if you bring a Relvis Martinez up right now, you are in full panic mode, and I don't want to. If a Relvis Martinez is going to be part of my
explain
core,
panic mode. Why?
Okay, we have Chris Bassitt. We're going to go to Chris Bassitt. Then I'll explain panic mode.
Okay.
Oh, he looks happy.
Would you be?
Chris, just with the way that the Royals kind of went out of the zone in that 6th inning, can you kind of live with some of the pitches that you made there?
Yeah, I'm past the point of thinking that it's about the results, and they're just not there.
What do you think you can take away from the first 5 innings that you can build on going forward?
I would just It's more so I think I made truly one bad pitch all day. Pascantino's double. Outside of that, I didn't make a single bad pitch.
The fourth inning, you got Salperez to swing. The umpire's ruled that he was going to go to first base. To what extent did that disrupt your?
Took a full hack.
No, it didn't. I mean, I knew I hit him. I'm just glad I didn't hurt him. That's it. He's a great player, and I want to watch him play.
I love this guy.
When you look back at a game where, you say you're now only thinking about results, but at the same time you only made one bad pitch. What is the conclusion that you draw from, you did what you were planning to do for 91 pitches, but the result was poor?
Yeah, just keep worrying about what I can control, and that's obviously what I did today. But it just, like I said, I'm beyond frustrated about what the hell's going on.
When you're pitching in those 0-0 games deep into the game, do you feel an added pressure up there to kind of be perfect on every single pitch?
No, it's just like I said, just execute pitches, and that was it. There's
Chris,
nothing more than that.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Last game you said you need to make some adjustments. Do you feel you made those adjustments between your last start and today?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
When you say you're beyond frustrated with what's going on, do you mean with you specifically in your numbers, or you just mean in general?
Yeah,
15 and 17?
I mean, I got a 5.5 ERA, and I feel like I had one bad game, and it's just, I'm just pissed.
Just as a team, Chris, how do you guys feel? Like, how do you evaluate first 32 games with some optics going on?
I mean, take the Colorado series out of it. This is no disrespect to them because I think they can win the World Series, but Houston might be the worst team we've played so far. I got a 5.5. Gauze got a 5. I think there's some perspective a little bit when it comes to it that, we played a really hard schedule and haven't played our best, and yet we're close to 500. Like, I think a lot can turn really fast. It's just, I think a lot of guys are frustrated with where we're at right now.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
There you go, Chris Bassitt, who, as we've seen, continues to talk about how the rotation has to do better, how he has to do better. Didn't point the finger at the lineup. At this point, I don't.
What's the point?
Exactly.
They know what they're not doing.
As to the schedule, the schedule's been tough, but if you are a playoff team, which I think the Blue Jays thought they were going into the year, you can't lose 5-7 to the Kansas City Royals. And the Royals are a good team. The Royals are going to be a good team for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. But if you're the Blue Jays and you want to go to the playoffs, you can't lose 5-7 to the Royals. Yeah, the Astros are a hurting group. But, with all due respect, the Jays have lost series to teams that they have to beat.
They're scoring 3.5 runs a game, Jeff. Yeah. How do you win at the big league level? And on top of that, the American League East. Like, how do you do that?
I feel for the Jays starting pitchers because it's true that their personal numbers in a couple of instances aren't where they want it to be. Let's be clear. You say Kikuchi and Jose Barrios are
all-stars.
Pretty much.
Absolutely.
But we've talked about this. This team, as good as the pitching has been, and let's keep this in mind, the pitching is the strongest part of this team, along probably with the outfield defense. But the pitching is also, it's not like it's top level in every category in baseball.
I don't think it's Seattle.
Exactly. They give up a lot of home runs.
They do.
Starters and relievers, they give up a lot of home runs.
Mm-hmm.
So what Chris Bassitt says is right. But again, 3.5 runs a game, 28 games where you haven't scored more than 5 runs.
That's a lot of games. That's the most in baseball.
It's May 1st. Haven't seen anything from Vladdy or Bo or George Springer that suggests that they're ready to take off. Any of those three? It's it really is. It's really clear. It was probably clear if we really wanted to be. I mean, spring training, Kevin, everybody's optimistic at spring training. But I think our suspicions going into spring training that Ross Atkins didn't do enough in the offseason to address the lineup issues, that Ross Atkins had too much faith into. And I can see having faith in Bo Bichette. I can see wanting to have faith in Vladdy. But I'm sorry. I can't go into a year thinking that George Springer, I can't expect George Springer, or I can't anticipate George Springer having a great year. George Springer was healthier last year than he's ever been. He played more games than he's ever played. He had career low numbers across the board. In other words, he got worse by being healthy.
Turner's 39. Had a career year offensively last year.
So I think you need to that's a lot to hang your hat on.
No question.
And I understand this organization. This starting rotation is the highest paid starting rotation in baseball, if I'm not mistaken, combined. There's an imbalance here, and the organization hasn't corrected that. And we can get into all sorts of reasons for that, the weakness in the minor league system, all of that. But we are, we're getting to the point here where we have to have some I think we reached the point at the end of last season, but clearly I was in the minority, but we're at a point where you have to have some really uncomfortable discussions about the guts of this thing. Certainly the guts of the lineup. And I'm not talking about filling in at the edges here. We've got to have some a really uncomfortable discussion about the guts of this lineup. John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays, was asked about the lack of performance offensively.
John, offensively, it was obviously a tough day for you guys. What do you make of the struggles to get things going at the plate today?
I think today, again, Lugo's good, and that's two good pitchers. It's you got to just be you got to be a little bit more aware of mistakes. He didn't make many mistakes. A lot of the strikeouts were on good pitches. So you give credit where credit's due for sure. And I think going forward, it's just one of those where we'll get better. We're confident that we will. When you look up and it's 6-1, it's 3-1 on a couple of ground balls that get through, and the game kind of looks a little bit different than I think it ended. But it's we'll be better.
Wow. You gotta love his enthusiasm, but
I don't know about enthusiasm.
Well, he's trying his best to be positive and have the lineups back.
Well, he has to.
But holy,
he has to. He has to say that.
He does.
He has to say that.
Read between the lines.
And I'm sure he's
3.5 runs a game.
I'm sure he's being told by people that eventually it's going to turn around, that the process is working. All that stuff. He's being told that. And if you're John Schneider, what point do you have? We talked about this. What are you going to do? Varsho leading off, Bichette leading off, dropping Guerrero. Where do you? If it's me, I hit Springer 14th, which is basically where I would have hit Matt Chapman last year. You can't hide George Springer in the lineup any more than you can hide Alejandro Kirk in the lineup. So I would ask people. And 416-413-3959 is a back leg line. Give us an answer. You folks watch the games as much as we do. I can sense there's a lot of frustration out there. But what would you do with the lineup? 416-413-3959 line. That is the back leg line. 590-590 is the text line. It's Blue Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network and Sportsnet.
At the core, we are the same. Our games have grown differently, but here we celebrate our similarities.
Join us for Cricket Night at the Park. Presented by TD. Find your seats at bluejays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
Think two-man-truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two-man-truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, two-men-in-a-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Bring excitement to your landscape with proven winners, Color Choice Shrubs. These flowering shrubs and evergreens have been trialed and tested by experts to make sure they look better and bloom better, so they're just as easy to care for as what's in your landscape now, but a whole lot more colorful and interesting. Look for proven winners, Color Choice Shrubs, in the distinctive white container at your local garden center, or learn more at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.
At the core, we are the same. Our games have grown differently, but here we celebrate our similarities. Join us for Cricket Night at the Park. Presented by TD. Find your seats at bluejays.com.
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm
Hey, this is Kevin Kiermaier. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Every day I'm hustling.
We've left wins on the table. We've been beaten for sure, and you look at where we are, 32 games in, and we're not anywhere near where we can be and where we think we will be. So, yeah, we know we need to be better. We will be better, kind of in all aspects, and it's gonna, when it does click, I think you're gonna see a complete game of baseball, complete brand of baseball. Right now, yeah, it hasn't worked consistently, but again, man, it will be better.
That's John Schneider, manager of the Blue Jays, after the 6-1 loss to the Kansas City Royals. The Jays have tomorrow off. They will go to Washington to take on the Nationals, then they'll take on the Philadelphia Phillies. It is Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker on the Sportsnet Radio Network and Sportsnet. We like to use what we call the back leg line to solicit calls when we're doing the show. So during the game, we ask people to call up, leave us a voice note, or text us at 590-590. The number to call is 416-413-3959. Paul in Sudbury left us a message, and well, he kind of gets to the point, I think.
Should the Blue Jays start to trade some assets and try to build for the future, because it doesn't look like what they have right now is going to bring them ultimately to a World Series. Maybe Vladdy, maybe Bassitt get some high value players for that. A little bit younger, a little bit less money. Just a question. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, Paul, listen.
Fair question.
people in this city seem to be scared to have that conversation. For the life of me, I don't know why. I've talked about it, and look, if I've been very clear. If it was me, I would have signed Bo to a long-term contract a couple of years ago, and we wouldn't be looking ahead to Bo possibly going into free agency at the end of next year. I've been consistent in that. Vladdy, I understand why the team is going year to year with him. Mm-hmm. Like my friend Mr. Barker, I would be fascinated to know what type of Vladdy we would see if the Jays had signed him to a long-term contract. Would that comfort level create confidence the way Bobby Witt Jr. certainly doesn't seem to be burdened by his 11-year a contract that could be $400 million if all the options are exercised. I don't know.
Probably will be.
Yeah. Do you see Bobby? Did he look like he was carrying the weight of the world? He looked to me like he was like, pushing people out of the way to get to the bat rack. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, what do they have to trade? Your second best pitching prospect is undergoing Tommy John surgery or brace surgery, whatever the hell it is. It's like a 2-for-1 deal.
I think the caller's talking about the meat.
But I'm saying Ricky Tiedemann, can't stay healthy. Arelvis Martinez,
big leaguers.
He's the guy that ultimately you hope is going to replace Vladdy or Bo, because you're going to have to get somebody cheap in here. But I'll tell you what, Paul's point, the everyday players here, who are you going to trade that's going to get you anything? IKF? No. Schneider? No. Jansen? Probably not. Varsho? I don't know. Maybe. Forget about the other guys. Springer? There is no such thing as an untradeable contract. See Vernon Wells. But nobody's going to take George Springer even up and give you anything in return. It's going to have to be Springer plus a prospect.
You're eating a bunch of the leftover
and you're going to have to eat a lot of the money.
Oh, a bunch.
You're going to have to eat a lot of the money.
Yeah.
So, who gives you a chance to address serious issues?
Let me ask you a question. What do you think their end goal is? Make the playoffs or win the World Series?
This year?
Yeah, you got to be realistic with yourself.
This year, the end goal has to be, the end goal every year. When you have a $238 million payroll, the end goal should be to win the World Series.
You're looking at yourself in the mirror right now and you're thinking to yourself, this team's good enough to win a World Series.
No.
Then I think you got to be realistic with that.
Now, then you get to Vladdy and Bo. And I would suggest, first of all, you are not going to get for Vladdy what the Washington Nationals got for Juan Soto. You're not, because you got Vladdy for a year and a half. And also, quite frankly,
hasn't been as good as Soto.
He hasn't been as good as Soto.
Had one good year. Can't argue that.
And teams that are would be interested in acquiring Vladdy. They're not looking at it as we're getting the next Juan Soto. So I don't know what you get for Vladdy. I mean, obviously somebody would give you something for Vladdy. Is it something that would make you better this year? I don't know. If you're the Blue Jays, you trade Vladdy, aren't you going to be looking for somebody with less service time than Vladdy that you can have around for 4 or 5 years?
Is good and cheaper. Hard to find.
Trading Bo. See, I think Bo gets you closer to what Soto got the Nationals. But to make that move, to trade either of those guys right now, signifies that you are, or let me rephrase that. It will be taken
You're punting.
as a sign that you are punting.
Yep.
By those of us in the media and
got a nice
by
stadium
fans.
too.
Got a nice new stadium. You've got a starting rotation that's making a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
So you're in a
tough spot.
You're in a tough spot.
You are.
And, I think back of the people that we have in Blair and Barker who are former executives or whatever. There's a lot of people who are questioning how the Blue Jays manage their assets around the game. I don't like to make a big deal of this because polls are polls are polls, but The Athletic did that poll, the top front offices in baseball.
Yep.
And they asked people from different organizations to pick their top 5. The Jays didn't get a sniff.
Yeah.
Now, they had company. The Red Sox didn't either. Red Sox front office
they've earned
a
it.
mess right now. They've earned it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of organizations that didn't get a sniff, but that still doesn't. Saying that, we didn't get a vote, but neither did 13 other teams, that's still not good.
No.
That's not good.
It's not.
And it seems to me that we have that discussion too much about the Blue Jays. It's, but, we're not good, but, other teams aren't good as well. And, we're not the worst offense, but other teams. I've made this point, and I think a lot of people agree with me. This is a big payroll. I've said that not only are fans and the players owed more, I frankly think ownership's owed more. Ownership's ponied up here. Spending
a lot of money.
Spend a ton of money. Yeah. And I guarantee you they didn't spend a ton of money to have a 15-17 record and get their ass handed to them by the Kansas City Royals. Again, all due respect to the Kansas City Royals because
they're a solid team.
They're a solid team.
They're solid.
But they're not at taking 5 or 7 games from my team's solid team.
Well said.
Jordan in Ottawa. Sorry, Daryl in Cambridge.
I'm getting pretty tired of listening to the Jays and watching the Jays and going through the same old. Swinging at the first pitch every time. Weak ground ball, pop up on the first pitch, or swing and miss. Why don't they have it? Take a strike. At least first time through the lineup. Take a strike. Don't swing until you get a strike. Make the pitcher's pitch count go up. And swing at your pitch. Don't swing at the pitcher's pitch. It's common sense. I don't understand why these professional so-called baseball players don't have the common sense to do it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Daryl, I'll turn you over to a former pro player.
I'm not sure it's common sense. I think sometimes when you struggle, you press. You want to go up and have action quick, right? The more pitches you see, sometimes the worse off you are. And that's sort of, I think, where 1 through 9 is. Now, there's some guys in there, and we all know their names, who are, having some better at-bats than other guys are. But I just think it's hard sometimes to go up and try less. It's not the easiest thing to do when you're struggling and you see your counterparts that are sort of looking the exact same way that you're looking. And again, I think that's the question, right? Is when you see George go up and be as aggressive as he is, which I think he's an educated guesser. Educated guessers mean they're looking for a pitch in a certain zone, and no matter what the count is, he's swinging at it. And you have to be real good at not swinging at things that you're not looking for. And I think sometimes that's where George is at, right? He looks in between. His approach looks in between. His mechanics look in between. So, I don't think it's as easy as just go up and take a strike. They think pitching's really good now. It's hard to take strikes. It's hard to take, pitches that you think you could drive for strike one. You're behind. It's do you go up and take a pitch that you don't think you can hit hard? Absolutely. We've seen a lot of guys chasing. We've seen a lot of guys getting themselves out. This is what it looks like when a lineup is struggling. Guys are trying too hard. It sounds easy. It sounds, and I'm sure they've had the conversation, and I've had conversations with guys sitting in the lineup, Jeff, that have said exactly what the caller just said. But it's easier said than done when you're not scoring any runs. Get back to that 3.5 runs a game. You don't think if I know it, they know it. They know that it's 28 and, not scoring 5 or more. That's a lot of games, and guys are trying to press, and it's yada, yada, et cetera, because guys expect, and I do too, the more money you make, the better at bats you should have. You should be able, because you're making that amount of money, you've been around long enough to know how to get out of slumps quicker than other guys do. That's the frustrating part of this. It is literally like Groundhog Day when these guys walk to the plate, and I can understand frustration from fans. They see the same thing that we see.
Yeah. Greg in Saskatoon reached out on the text line, 590-590. Greg said, Greg gets to the point. It's time to fire every hitting instructor and or coach. They should also eliminate the analytics department and return to playing baseball. Well, Greg, I
mean, you'd have to have other options, right? This is in season.
I said it.
I mean, there's 15 of them.
And
then there's like 40 khakis. Like,
I said at the end of last year that the end of last season that I was surprised that there wasn't a clear out or that somebody didn't get fired, and they ended up moving Dave Hudgens into a position in the minor league system. So I guess he can do through the whole organization what happened last. I mean, I just don't know. As far as analytics, look,
every team has
analytics. Really good teams have analytics. Return to baseball. I hate to tell you this. This is baseball in 2024. And again, we kind of poke fun at analytics a lot of the time. But you have to ask yourself, Houston Astros use analytics. They've won World Series. There isn't a team out there that doesn't use
Rangers
analytics.
won the World Series. They use analytics.
They use analytics. God, Chris Young is like King Khaki.
He is, yep.
So I kind of laugh when I hear people say that. I'm not disparaging. I'm not disparaging the text at all. I mean, one of the frustrations with baseball now is, let's face it, you don't know who to blame. I don't know. We still don't know what happened to Minnesota in that playoff game. We may think we do, but we still don't know what happened.
We do hear a lot of, it's too much information. And I wonder, I've said this to you a bunch of times. The hard thing that I had when I was coming up, because I wasn't as good as these guys, how to say no.
Well,
the more money you make, isn't it easier to say no? No, I'm good with that. I appreciate the information, but it just don't work for me. I'm good. I don't understand that part of it. Why? Okay, it's good for them to give it to you. If you don't like it or want it, you can't say no.
Unless the information they're getting is wrong information, and I tend to think it's probably not, unless the people who are looking at the information are clueless, and I don't think that they're clueless, because contrary to what many people think, I do think that Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are smart people, and I don't think they'd surround themselves with idiots. But it's not like this is a month. These issues have afflicted this team for a while. And your job, if you are in that front office, is to take this payroll, and I keep talking about payroll, and even though I promise I don't talk about payroll, I'm going to now, because there's a lot of money being paid. Your job is to take that money and win a World Series.
Yeah.
That's your job, however you decide to do it.
Jeff,
I am going to say this, organizationally, I can tell you something. There is in any organization, when you go out and bring in a bunch of people, there is a whole lot of ass covering that goes on.
Yeah.
Like, there is a whole bunch of we got to protect our jobs going on. There's a whole lot of, we're doing the right stuff. It's just the blockheads in the uniforms aren't doing the right stuff. So that's just the way baseball is in 2024. But again, winning teams are using analytics.
You still got to have players that can hit. They have also got rid of some really good players. Like Teoscar's, how would this team lineup look with him hitting cleanup? How would Lourdes, who can hit 300 and hit good pitching, look? Like now you got to be fair. They have gotten rid of some really good hitters, and sometimes just the quality of the hitter can overcome all the conversations.
Stick
and
Teoscar
if you
in
can
this
hit,
lineup.
you can hit.
Stick Teoscar in this lineup with Justin Turner.
How would it look? How would it look? Even the conversation with Teoscar and Vladdy. Maybe Vladdy's one of those dudes that just needs that kind of figure around him. I don't know. Who am I to say that ain't right? I'm just saying it's funny how it hasn't looked since they haven't brought guys back or gotten rid of guys. That's all.
I will tell you this. Pay attention to what happens in the next 2 weeks, because this is the type of record you're going to start hearing a lot of whispering. I guarantee you're going to start hearing a lot of whispering in the next couple of weeks. And, you're already people around the team. You start to hear, some things.
I've told you this. I've been in enough clubhouses to know that one side's doing really well and the other side's not. The conversations will get heavier.
Mike from Brantford reached out to us, 590 in the text line. He wanted to talk about Vladdy. And we'll throw the board up there in a minute. Vladdy reminds me of Prince Fielder. Oof. I mean, first of all, Prince Fielder was awfully good. Secondly, if the media in Toronto treated the Jays like the Leafs, they'd be calling for Atkins to lose his job a week ago. I sure love watching Six Pigios every night. Well, as to the last part, one's enough for me.
I mean, I think this show was the first ones to say after Ross threw the manager under the bus that how does he keep his job? Like, it's not like the conversation hasn't been had.
No. As far as the the rest of the media goes, I don't know. One of the things that comes with analytics is you can use analytics to make excuses and convince people that you actually know what you're doing. And I think there's been a certain amount of that in this marketplace. But, in terms of why isn't anybody calling for Ross Atkins to be fired? I mean, I got to tell you, after the way last season ended, we said, I thought someone to lose their job. I don't know what has to happen. I don't. I was unhappy with the way last season ended. The fans were unhappy with the way last season ended. The players were unhappy with the way last season ended. And it seemed to me that they just, for whatever reason, the decision was made to double down on the stuff they did last year, except improve the communication and give Don Mattingly the job as an offensive coordinator. Anyhow. So, but I cannot disagree with the fact that, Ross Atkins is lucky that he's not running the Toronto Maple Leafs. I will say that because if he was, there'd be a lot of people being more vociferous in calling for his job. But
I mean, they've been pretty bad offensively, and there's a day off tomorrow. So, I don't know
necessarily.
Yeah,
and also, take a look at this organization. This organization is wants to stress stability. And I get that. Stability is generally a good thing. But I'll just throw this out there. If John Schneider ends up losing his job, it's John Gibbons, Charlie Montoyo, John Schneider. The new dude coming in, whoever it is, would be Ross Atkins' fourth manager. Okay, he inherited John Gibbons. I get that. He picked Charlie Montoyo. John Schneider was his handpicked successor and got an extension. And take a look around the AL East and ask yourself, which team has had the least amount of stability in the manager's office? Ask yourself that.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Boone in New York, Alex Cora in Boston, and there may be changes this year. Alex Cora certainly talked in the offseason like a guy who wants out.
Yeah.
Kevin Cash is going nowhere. Kevin Cash will be there until Kevin Cash decides he's not. And Brandon Hyde, if Brandon Hyde moves on, it's going to be because somebody's going to pick up the phone and say, we'll give you goofy Craig Counsell money to come and manage our team.
Yeah.
But other than that, again, there's been a lack of stability in the manager's office here. And
they got to figure it out. Whatever they're selling to the pitchers is working. Whatever they're selling to the offense is not.
Let's go to Rick in Kingston, my hometown. Well, I was born in Kingston. Morden's my hometown, but I was born in Kingston. Rick in Kingston.
Can you please tell me why the Jays don't play small ball at all? Every team that comes in either steals, bunts, or whatever. You're in a close game. Do you think it'd be a good idea if they played small ball? Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, Rick, I got to tell you, 3.5 runs a game, it's pretty hard to get your balls any smaller than that if you want to know the truth. I mean, I think these guys are playing small ball. Maybe not in the way we think, but, I mean, this is the incredible shrinking lineup. Let's be honest.
Bottom of the order's tried.
They've tried.
Top of the order right now is just whatever reason's not in the flow, whatever they're trying to be in the flow with. So, yeah, I don't know. Like,
what chances? Let me ask you this: playing small ball, who's making enough contact to play small ball?
They're
right
like
now
they're like 30th in average with runners in scoring position. I mean, small ball getting them over for who? Like, that's the question you got to ask yourself. Like, I understand the caller, and sometimes you got to press it, and you got to just sort of go outside the box and things you don't want to do all the time. But man, like right now, it's just who you bunting them over for. That's the question you got to ask yourself. It ain't the top of the order right now. I mean, there's a reason why Kansas City bunted a guy to third, because the dude walking to the plate might be top 5 best player in baseball. And the dude coming up after him is leading the league in RBIs. Like, those are no-brainer type. Who you butting over for the Jays? Like, that's the thing, right? I'm with the caller, and sometimes you have to do it, but who? For who?
Yeah,
it's got to make sense.
And you're giving up an out. You're giving up an out. Though, I mean, they're not doing anything. They're not hitting home runs, and again, Don Mattingly, this isn't a home run hitting team. This is the team that's going to have to score runs in other ways. Well, the other ways haven't materialized. But I would suggest that this is the smallest ball Blue Jays team. That doesn't sound right. You know what I mean. That this team is...
You dug yourself this hole. I'm going to let you try and get out of it.
Yeah. Why don't we just take a break? Why don't we just take a break anyhow and come back and go back to the phone line? Go back to the text line. 6-1. The Kansas City Royals have beaten the Toronto Blue Jays. The rubber match of this 3-game series. Tomorrow's an off day. And it's the Washington Nationals and the Philadelphia Phillies. It's Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker. I don't think our balls are on the Sportsnet Radio Network and Sportsnet.
Our games have grown differently, but here we celebrate our similarities. Join us for Cricket Night at the Park, presented by TD. Find your seats at bluejays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Not tomorrow, not some